A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs. It's quiz time, ladies. Yes, time for our Wash Day quiz. And today we have two contestants for Wash Day honors, Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Jones. Now, are you all ready for your questions, ladies?
Yes, yes.
Oh, fine. Now, Mrs. Jones, you're first. I want you to tell me, how many kinds of wash do you have each wash day?
Well, I usually separate my wash into three kinds. The heavy work shirts and overalls, and then the white pieces, and next the rayon undies and fussy-colored washables.
Oh, that's a fine answer. Now, Mrs. Smith, here's your question. To do these three kinds of wash, what soap would you use?
Well, I need a top soap for the heavy pieces, and for the nicer things, well, to be safe, I suppose I ought to use another soap. Oh, but Mrs. Smith, there's a much easier way than that. Really, Mrs. Jones? Now, whose question was that anyway? Yes, I know how to wash clothes.
Now, ladies.
Just the same, there's a new granulated soap called Does that does everything in the wash.
Ladies,
Well, you don't mean there's a granulated soap that I can trust with my rayon slips and get dirty overalls clean, too? Sure, does it. Just ask Mr. Fleming.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Jones is right. Does is a really new kind of granulated soap, and it does all three kinds of wash. Yes, Does leaves your pretty rayon slips soft and bright. Yet this same Does gets grimy work shirts clean and streaky towels white. Really dazzling white. Why, you've never seen more sparkling white washes anywhere than Does gives you. And talk about easy. Why, no soap made gets clothes white easier than you Does. Once you try it, you'll see Does is a really new kind of granulated soap, not just a new improvement of an old soap. You've never before been able to buy a soap quite like it. Look for that big red and white box with the name D-U-Z Does. It does everything in your wash. The Goldbergs. You know, sometimes we try so hard, we work with so much enthusiasm, and think with such logic that our noses are never lifted from that particular job. And then, one day, somehow, we look up and find that an old world has drifted away and a new one drifted in. This happened to Molly. She was in the midst of doing all she could for Mr. Way and Oriane. She tried, she talked, she maneuvered. And outside the little circle, there was a fog. And suddenly little Seymour lifted the fog. He's going to enlist. And Molly saw that she had her life, too, Sammy. It's got her down a little, just a little. But then, of course, she has Jake, who never loses courage in his bullheaded way. But
Sammy sleeping, sir?
He must be. It's late. Why, Molly?
Nothing.
Don't disturb him.
Must that disturb him? Engineers are important in this war now, aren't they?
Very. Molly, please, sir.
No, I know that, Jake. It's a job to do, and it must be did. Not by some, but by all. The only wish I could do something, Jake. Myself.
You have plenty to do in the home front, Molly.
Jake.
I mean it, Molly. Your maneuverings and your home strategy is needed also.
Jake, please.
Who in the whole world could do the things you do?
Jake, please.
You're not going to give up the campaign now, before you know who is going to marry who. You're not going to let Oriane marry Mr. Way. Are you going to surrender now, at the crucial point?
Jake.
Don't give up, Molly, till you see the whites of the ice.
Jake. Sam, he's taking the ROTC training in college now, huh, Jake?
Molly, did you forget that Mrs. Way is still in your parlor?
What's for about him?
I suppose Oriane is coming indoors. You told Seymour to send her in. Come in, Oriane.
Seymour said you wanted me. Mrs. Goldberg? Yes, Oriane. Aren't you feeling well, Mrs. Goldberg?
It's very late and Mrs. Goldberg is tired.
I'm sorry. Go inside, Oriane, and talk to Mrs. Way. There isn't anything but that. There's plenty, Oriane. Go in and talk to her. And when you talk to her, remember that Remember that she's a person, too. Don't only talk out of your own feelings. She has feelings, too. She has a point of view, also. Quarrels would be shorter, and the pleasures in life would be longer. You should always try to remember that. Go. Go in, Orion.
You won that skirmish, Molly.
Oh, please, don't fool with him now.
It'll be all right, Molly. It'll all come out all right. I'm rolling up my sleeves too, Molly, darling. I'm turning over all the facilities of the mill to the government. I'm going to enlist as $1 a year man. Whatever we have, we'll live on for the duration.
I'm afraid we'll never agree on that, Mrs. Wade. I think I'm going to leave now, Mrs. Goldberg.
It's late.
Yes, very late, and I'm very tired.
Mrs. Way, I think it's about time we gave up trying to misunderstand each other.
I think I understand you, Oriane.
And I understand you. Your wedding present is too generous. But even if Edward doesn't appreciate it, the people who get their money back will.
And so will Edward.
It would have meant more before he went to prison. And I know why you are making the offer now. First, you want to prevent my marriage to him. And when that failed, you thought you quiet your own conscience by doing it. And at the same time, plant the seed of failure in our married life. You want him to keep thinking of how much you gave up. You want him to keep thinking of you. I'm not angry. I'm merely speaking the truth.
It's not the truth at all. No matter what motives I had before, I don't have them now. I'm doing this for both of you, so that both of you can be happy. You don't have to believe it, and you don't have to be happy about it either. You do as you like. I'm very tired of this whole thing.
I'm still marrying your husband.
I think you're protesting too much. You don't have to repeat every chance you get. I believe you. But I believe also that you really don't want to. Or else you wouldn't say it so often.
That sounds a little like Dr. Cater's words.
It wouldn't hurt you to listen to him. However, I don't think that I have anything more to do with this. I've done what I can. Good or bad. I feel clean of this whole thing. Every bit of it.
I'm not going to be framed into doing what I know is foolish. You can't tell me that you have turned over a new leaf in 10 minutes. It isn't done. You came here to hurt your husband, your former husband. You told me that yourself. You told me you hated him, you despised him, and now all of a sudden you want him to be happy.
You don't understand that. You don't understand anything. It's no use talking.
Family, you're not sleeping?
No, I wanted to...
Wait, family. You're going in the kitchen?
Yeah, I want to...
Wait, family, I'll go with you.
Oh, don't bother, Ma. You're talking to Oriane and Mrs. Wade.
No, there's nothing more I can say to them. Only maybe this. No. There's nothing more I can say to them. Everything that happened is clear. And what's left is their own selves. You have to know yourself. You have to be honest with what you really want. You have to know how much it's worth, how much you want to pay, what the cost is. Nobody can tell you that. Only you yourself. When it comes to taking things, it's easy to accept. Very easy. But when it comes to paying for them, when each joy is measured with the sacrifice of the whole world can't tell you if it's worthwhile. Only yourself. Come, Samuel. I'll go with you. Jake, come.
I think I'll leave now.
Just what do you want out of all this, Mrs. Wade?
I don't think you'd believe me if I told you.
How can I believe you, so don't tell me.
Tell me this. It's true, isn't it? That from the very beginning, all you felt towards Edward was pity for his misfortune. Pity for him because I had been so bitter and cruel. Sympathy for those years he spent in prison. It was that, wasn't it, that made you tell him you loved him?
Suppose it were.
Well, then, if it's true, you ought to know what I've done. I love Mr. Wade. That's why I married him. And through all the years, that love was turned in on itself until it became as bitter and tasteless and horrible as anything could be, but is spoiled forever. After you'd hoped for so much, wished for so much, and yearned for so much. It was out of that feeling that I acted the way I did. And now at last I'm tired of it. I'm weary of it, and I'm through with it. It's been like a fever which either kills or cures, and I'm cured. I've nothing left but what I once felt. A feeling as genuine and simple as the love I had for Edward. But he no longer loves me. It's you he loves. So I've decided to make him happy, since I helped so much to make him unhappy. That's why I'm paying off all those old things. That's the only reason. Good night. But what else is there to say? I want him back. I can't have him. But pity may seem enough to you, Oriane. And when there's no love, pity may seem like it. But what you measure out to him every day in understanding and sympathy, what you give him drop by drop, because you have to think of it first. You have to say, I'm sorry for him. Here is so much. I could give him endlessly. I love him. I want him back. But I won't fight for him, since you want to help him too. Only you don't know how. How could you? You don't love him. Good night.
And so Margaret Way is stronger and better because of Molly and also because of herself. And yet there remains the problem of her future, her husband's, and Oriane's. Has Molly heart enough to continue with her plans now that she knows with a new force the things that are happening on every hand? Now, here's a way to make 1942 a banner year for your dishpan. Yes, ma'am, just throw out those old-fashioned halfway soaps. I mean those mile bar soaps that keep you on speed, or those tough granulated soaps that are short on gentleness to your hands. Yep, such halfway soaps are way out of the picture now that new does appear. That brand new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And Does has everything you want for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Yes, your hands will really applaud the extra kindness Does gives them. They'll come out of the dishpan feeling beautifully soft and smooth. In fact, Does is far kinder to your hands than any other leading granulated laundry soap. Yet no soap made can beat Does for speedy dishwashing. It cuts even tough frying pan grease without any hard scouring. Why, you can tell the difference in Does right in the suds. So, ask for Does today. It has everything for dishes. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Berg. This is James Fleming, wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. An elderly woman on her way to the bank has been robbed and beaten senseless. The suspects are cruel, ruthless. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
was Saturday, August 9th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Walker, captain of robbery. My name's Friday. It was 10:14 a.m. when I got to room 27A, robbery detail.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Win.
How is he?
Won't know for a while.
What'd the vet say?
Thinks the dog picked up some kind of poisoned food.
Oh, it's too bad.
Sure hot. You got a penny?
Yeah. Yeah, there you are.
Thank you.
Somebody poisoned, huh?
Yeah. That's what the vet says. I never could figure why some people poison dogs.
I don't understand some people not liking animals, but I can't see why they poison food and then just toss it around wholesale loss.
You know how I feel about that dog of mine. If anything happens to him, I don't know what he'll do.
Oh, he'll be all right. Those vets can do wonders these days.
I sure hope so. They told me to check back with him about noon.
I'm about to melt in this heat.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be any air at all.
Well, tomorrow Sunday, guess I'll just lie out in the backyard.
It's going to be good to just loaf around and read the Sunday papers, huh? It's a hot shot.
I'll take it. My wife wants me to get out and get a little color. She says I'm better looking with a tan.
She ought to know.
All right. Will you get married, Joe? After so long, it gets so you believe everything they tell you.
There's one to roll on.
Yeah?
Robbery and shooting. Victor's car was stolen. You want to get on it?
All right, let's go, Joe.
Bank job. Don't make any plans for Sunday.
10:53 a.m. Ben and I pulled up in front of the Union Trust and Savings Bank at Melrose and Logan. We made our way through the usual crowd that was milling in and around the bank. We spoke with the manager, a Mr. Bill Fore. He told us that he didn't see the actual robbery. The victim was taken in the parking lot next to the bank. Her name was Myrtle Shaw, a longtime customer of the Union Trust and Savings. Fore told us that she always did her banking at the same time each day, around 10 in the morning when the bank first opened. He said she was the proprietor of Myrtle's Cafe, 4 doors west of the bank.
Let us through, please. Sorry, let us through here.
Officer, over here.
Yes, sir.
Friday and Romero, central robbery. Did you answer the call?
Yes, we did. Freeman and Welsh, Unit 13R. Ambulance just left. Lincoln didn't want to go to Georgia Street. Said she wanted her own doctor.
Okay, is she inside the cafe?
Yeah.
Let's go in, Ben. Are you Freeman?
No, I'm Welsh. Freeman's inside.
See if you can clear this crowd a little, will you, Welsh?
Right.
Thank you.
All right. You've seen everything now. Now, let's move along.
Come on.
It's like I can take that. There she is, over in the last booth. Freeman?
Yes, sir.
Friday and Romero, central robbery. Is this the victim?
Yes, that's right. Her name's Myrtle Shaw.
Miss Shaw?
Yes, that's right.
My name's Romero. This is Sergeant Friday. We're from Robbery Division downtown.
You men detectives?
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yes, all right. I hope you can catch the men that did this.
Well, we're going to do all we can.
It's a little hard for me to talk. My face is so swollen. It hurt something terrible.
What happened?
One of them struck me,
Yes, ma'am, we know that. Do you want to tell us how it happened?
and I was on my way to the bank. I drove in the parking lot there next door.
Yeah?
I just got out of my car when these men walked over to me.
You're only 4 doors from the bank. Do you always drive such a short distance?
No. I just picked up my car from Edgar's filling station. I have it greased once a month.
I see.
Where was I?
You'd just driven into the parking lot when these men walked up to you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Well, one of them said, just hand over the money and there won't be any trouble. The other one said, this is a gun in my pocket, Grandma.
Yeah?
My head's splitting. Did someone call Dr. Van Hale?
Yes, ma'am. He's on his way.
Oh, thank you. Well, I carry my day's receipts in a cloth bank bag. I had it in my purse, and I wasn't sure if they knew I had any money.
Yeah?
I told them I didn't have any. And I was going in to draw some out, and one of the men said, look, old-timer, we don't want to get rough. Just hand it over. We know you got it.
What'd you do?
Well, I turned and started to walk away, and I saw this one man's arm flash out of his pocket, and then something hard like a rock struck me on the side of the face.
Must have slugged you with his gun.
Oh, yes, it couldn't have been his hand. I don't think he could have cut my face like this with his hand.
You should have let them take you to the emergency hospital.
No, I don't want to go in an ambulance. I want my own doctor. He'll know what to do.
The ambulance crew gave her first aid. She wouldn't let him take her.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Miss Shaw, would you know the men if you ever saw them again?
Well, I think so, yes. One of them looked like the worst kind of a hoodlum.
When they got your money, huh?
Oh, yes. And they tell me they got away with my car, too.
How much money did you lose?
$116.23.
Do you own this cafe?
Yes, I do. It's a small place, as you can see. I do all the cooking and serving up to 11:30 in the morning. Then I have a college girl that waits on tables in the afternoon and evening.
Do you think those men have ever been in here in the cafe?
No.
Have you ever seen either of them before?
No, I never laid eyes on them before today.
How about the girl who works for you? You think she's ever seen them before?
I don't know. You can ask her. She should be here soon. What time is it now?
11:20.
Yes, she'll be along any minute. Oh, I wish there was something to stop this aching.
We know you must have a lot of pain, Miss Shaw, but we've got to ask a few more questions so we can get right on this.
Yeah, I understand. I'll tell you all I can.
Ben, do you want to get the dope on the stolen car and a description of the man? I'll call the office.
Right.
Say, is there a payphone I can use here, Miss Shaw?
Yes, right over there behind the fountain.
Thank you.
Do you need change?
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid I do.
Well, just help yourself in the cash register there.
Thank you. I put in a dime, taking out 2 nickels.
Oh, well, now, that wasn't necessary, young man. You didn't have to tell me.
Well, I know, but we don't like to open other people's cash registers.
You're a police officer, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
I trust you.
That seems to be the reason a lot of people don't. I called the office, and as fast as Ben repeated the information, I phoned it in. The detailed information was broadcast to all units. The stolen car was a 1946 green Ford sedan, license number 1X-ray 1898. All units were instructed to be on the lookout for the car, and if found abandoned, to notify robbery detail immediately and to keep the car under surveillance until we arrived. I called in a description of the suspects and the fact that the money was taken in a cloth bag stamped Union Trust and Savings. Myrtle Shaw's doctor arrived, and she was ordered to bed for rest and treatment. Ben and I interrogated all the possible witnesses in the parking lot, and we found only one man who saw the actual robbery. His story compared to that of Miss Shaw's, but he could add nothing more. We talked with a young college student who worked in the restaurant. She didn't think she'd ever seen the men in question. We drove back to the city hall and went to the stats office. They made a run for us on the descriptions and M.O. that we had, and we pulled the packages of all possible suspects that the machine sorted out. We narrowed and sifted the 24 possibles down to 12. We took the mug shots out and showed them to the victim and the one witness. They could not identify any of them as the 2 men in the holdup. 2:35 p.m. Saturday. We started to canvass the neighborhood, door to door.
That takes care of Logan Street for 1 block, both sides. Want to start here on Melrose?
Okay. Let's try this drugstore.
I'm on fire. Paper says it's supposed to hit 99 today.
I believe it. Come on.
Yes, sir?
Police officers. We're looking for a couple of men. Here's the descriptions. I wonder if you'd read this and tell us if you ever seen them.
Yes, sir. We got time to have a coat.
No, we better not. It's getting late.
No, I'm afraid I've never seen anybody who answers either one of these descriptions.
You sure?
Yeah, quite sure.
Well, thank you. I'll have to have that back.
Oh.
Let's go.
Is it just my imagination, or does it seem to be getting hotter to you?
Talking about it doesn't help.
I've tried ignoring it. That don't help neither.
Let's try this bakery.
How do you do, gentlemen?
All right, police officers. Wonder if you'd read the 2 descriptions listed here and tell us if you've ever seen either of these men.
Yes, of course. No.
Sure smells good in here, doesn't it?
No,
Yeah.
I don't seem to recall anybody that looks like this.
Anybody else in here who might have seen him?
No, I don't think so. I wait on trade.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Let's go.
That smells just like good old apple pie, doesn't it, Joe?
We're baking Danish coffee cake at the moment.
Oh.
The next place here is a plastic factory.
Yeah, looks like they're closed half-day Saturday again.
Somebody in there cleaning up. Guess he didn't hear me.
Oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
A lot of money in this plastics business.
Mm-hmm. Really came into its own during the war, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The plant's closed Saturday afternoon.
Police officers. Wonder if you'd look this paper over and tell us if you may have seen 2 men answering these descriptions.
All right. I have to put my glasses on.
Yes, sir.
There now. I don't need them for sweeping, just reading.
All right, here you are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
What was that?
I said, what do you think? Have you seen him?
Well, I don't know.
How do you mean?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I may have seen one of them.
How about the other one?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other one.
But you do remember seeing one of them?
I might have seen both of them.
But you're not sure?
I don't know.
Well, do you want to tell us what you remember about the one you did see?
Oh, don't you want to know about the other one, too?
Well, yes, sir, we do, but I understood you to say that you didn't know about the other one.
No, I don't.
Well, you just tell us what you know, then.
Then you want me to just forget about the other fella?
No, sir, but if you don't know, it's all right.
I might know.
Yeah?
I haven't read about him yet.
Oh.
You asked me a question just as I finished reading about the first one. I was just starting on the second one at that time.
Yes, sir, sorry.
What was that you asked me?
Wasn't important.
Then I'll read about the second one.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen them 2 or 3 days ago, both of them.
In this neighborhood?
Yes, sir, right around back in the parking lot.
They work here?
No, sir, they don't. Seems to me I've seen them a couple of times.
What were they doing?
I don't recall. I just remember I've seen them.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive. One of them had on a brown suit, the other gray, just like it says here. The descriptions fit all right.
You have any idea where these men might be now?
No, sir.
We're investigating a robbery. We want these men for questioning.
I wish I could help you more. I do know I've seen them, but that's about all. I don't know their names.
All right, sir. What's your name?
Seth Williamson.
We'll leave you one of our cards, Mr. Williamson. If you see him again, appreciate you letting us know.
Yes, sir. Sure will.
Let's go, then.
Wish we had something more definite to go on. If we just had a picture of the guys.
Yeah, it'd help.
There's a vacant lot in the corner. Finishes out this block.
All right. Let's double back on the other side of the street.
Right. Sure, huh?
4:30 p.m. We continued knocking on doors, checking every place that was still open or showed any activity Saturday afternoon. We talked with hotel managers, janitors, and cleanup men at the different factories or business establishments. We checked grocery stores, private homes, everywhere that we could find anybody to show the descriptions to. By 6:15 p.m., the only person who showed any sign of recognition of the two hold-up men was still Seth Williamson, the janitor at the plastics plant. Before we took time out for a sandwich and a cup of coffee, we drove back to the city hall to check the office.
Hi, Friday.
What do you say, Marty?
A couple messages for you here.
Thanks.
What's the matter with you, Romero?
I'm dehydrated. That sun almost fried me.
Oh, Joe, that one call asked me your mother. Said tell your dog's out of danger.
Oh, that's fine. Called in around 2, huh?
Yeah. That other one's from some guy who says he wants to talk to you right away. Been calling in since about 3 this afternoon.
Seth Williamson, eh? Called 4 times.
Yeah. Said tell you he'd wait at that number there till he heard from you.
I'll call him right now.
Been hot downtown, boy?
Pretty warm, yeah.
Any kickback on that stolen car?
No, not yet.
Benson Plastics.
This is Sergeant Friday, Police Department.
Oh, yes, I'm glad you called me back. I think I've got a little more information for you.
Yeah?
Those 2 fellas you were looking for, did you find them?
No, not yet.
Well, I just remembered what they were doing out back there in the parking lot.
Yeah?
They were taking pictures
Of what?
of the 2 girls that was with them. I remember now. There were 2 young women with them. One was a blonde, and the other I don't recall.
How were they dressed?
The blonde had on a white shirt of some kind and a black dress. That's all I can tell you for sure.
Who was taking the pictures?
First the fellas took the girl's picture, and then the girls took snapshots of the fellas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson.
Oh, it'll help you.
Yes, sir, it will. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What do you got?
They've had their pictures taken.
Yeah?
Let's find the prints.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Miss Nancy Appel, a night news writer for one of the world's great press services. This is her actual signed statement.
When you're working hard, smoking more, it's nice to enjoy a really mild cigarette. I've found the king-size cigarette that has this quality above all others. That cigarette is Fatima. Because it's extra mild, Fatima is always more enjoyable. That's why I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers agree to that every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Ben and I figured if we could possibly turn up the photographs that had been taken, we'd have something more definite to go on. We still had a lot of doubts. Maybe the janitor, Seth Williamson, was wrong. Maybe there were no pictures. If the snapshots had been taken, maybe they were still on the camera, undeveloped. With any kind of fast service and processing, the photos could have been picked up by now. We figured it was worth the chance and the time involved to check the lead out. All we had was the victim's scant description of the two hold-up men, and if we could possibly turn up pictures, it'd help a great deal. If Williamson was right, we'd have another lead, the two girls. 6:40 p.m., we started checking drugstores, going through all prints that had not yet been picked up by the customers. We'd made the rounds of all the drugstores in the neighborhood earlier in the day, but we double-checked the descriptions of the two men with the personnel in each store. By 9 p.m., we'd checked out 10 drugstores and found nothing. We were going on the hunch that the photos would most likely be dropped off for processing somewhere in the immediate neighborhood. It was only a hunch, and we were running out of drugstores.
Police business. We'd like to go through your photos that have been left for development.
Yes, sir. Here's the box right here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll take half. Not very many this time, huh? Mm-hmm. Oh, don't forget to check the negatives, too. Sometimes they don't print them if they're bad.
Yeah, I know.
No, nothing in this one.
People sure take a lot of pictures of babies, don't they?
Yeah.
Nothing. These are sure fuzzy. Pictures at the zoo.
Pictures of Yellowstone. Man.
Yeah?
Pay dirt, maybe.
Let me see. Two guys. Two girls.
One's a blonde, white blouse, dark skirt.
Look close.
Now, let's see. Left by a Marion Lang, 223 East Bixel.
Well, Claire.
Yes, sir?
You want to double-check us on this envelope?
Yes, sir.
This date and time right here, 3:30 p.m., August 6th?
Yes, that's correct. That's when the films were left for processing.
3 days before the robbery.
Did you ever see this woman in the picture before?
Let me see.
This one?
Oh, yes. Yeah. She comes in here quite often. Miss Lang is her name.
How about these men or this other girl here?
No, I've never seen them.
When were these prints supposed to be picked up?
I waited on her. She told me she'd pick them up yesterday.
Well, we'll have to take these photos along with us. They'll be returned.
All right, sir. How will I explain this to Miss Lang?
If this is the right address, you won't have to. Before we left, we called the office and had a stakeout placed in the drugstore in case Marion Lang tried to pick up the photos. We checked the address she gave on the envelope, 223 East Bixel. It was a small apartment building near the corner. The manager told us that Marion Lang had moved out the morning of August 9th, the day of the robbery. She left no forwarding address. The manager knew nothing of the other girl or the men in the photos. We checked with Myrtle Shaw, the victim. She positively identified the two men as the ones who robbed and slugged her. She knew nothing of the two girls. Hadn't seen them before. We put out a warrant on Marion Lang and gave the photos to Lieutenant Frank Cunningham and the record bureau. Monday morning, August 11th.
Morning, Frank.
Hello, boys.
Any record on the guys?
Nothing we could find, no. I'm having copies sent out right now.
Kind of thought maybe if we came up with pictures, we'd be halfway home.
Maybe we are.
How do you mean?
I had Tony make some blow-ups from the negatives. Full of grain. Probably taken with a cheap box camera of some kind, but it might help.
What'd you find?
I just checked the enlargements. They were still in the wash, but I think we got something. Let's go over the photocopy.
All right.
Good and clear now. Clear as they'll ever be, anyway. Here we go. I had 16 by 20 enlargements made. This will show you what I found.
Yeah?
You guys take a good look at the face of this one man here.
Thought we did. Why?
It's pretty hard to see on those small prints. Look here. You see the nose on this one?
Mm-hmm.
I'd guess it's been broken one time or another, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You see here? Scar over the left eye, scar over the right eye. A couple of them.
Yeah?
Look at the right ear. See how mashed it is?
We
couldn't come up with any names for you, but I'll bet it'd be safe to guess his line of work.
Looks like a prize fighter.
Nothing in the oddity file. I checked and double-checked everything I could lay my hands on here in the department. I don't place him if he was a boxer of any standing.
I know where it's going.
Isn't much. Wish I had something else for you.
It's a lead, isn't it?
Might be.
It's more than we had. It was possible that one of the two hold-up men in the photos could have been a professional fighter. From his appearance and build, we felt it was a fair guess. We took copies of the snapshots to the State Boxing Commission, Los Angeles branch. We spoke with a Mr. Farmer, who couldn't seem to recall the man from his picture. We went over the description that the victim had given us. Farmer said that he knew a great many of the fighters because at one time or another they all check in and out of the commission before a bout. But the man in the snapshot remained unidentified. He checked through several hundred cards bearing the photographs of boxers in the files. No luck. Farmer suggested that we try the Spring Street Gym, where the out-of-town fighters get into shape and the boxers in-town train. We left him a copy of the photograph and our card so that he could continue checking back through his files. It was 10:22 a.m. when we got to the Spring Street Gym.
Here's the manager's office.
Come in.
You the boss here?
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Police officers.
Yeah?
We're looking for a man we think might be a fighter. I wonder if you can help us out.
Sure, try.
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is my partner, Ben Romero.
Hi. My name's Charlie Coleman.
Here's a couple of photographs for you to look at, Mr. Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen this fellow on the right?
Let's see here. Let's walk over by the window, get a little light on him. Wait a minute. Used to work out here all the time a couple of years back. Name's Billy. Marshall, yeah, that's right. One of them named Billy the Kid Marshall.
Is he still around?
Oh, gee, I couldn't tell you. It's been a good 2 years since I seen him up here.
Any idea where we might locate him?
I doubt it. Used to be a Benny Farber stable. Benny's been to the East now over a year. Let me check back through my locker listings. Maybe I still got something on him. Yeah, let's see. Out cards. Yeah, that's what we want. Let's take them over here by the window where we can read them. As I recall, Marshall wasn't much of a fighter. Farber nursed him up through the prelims, got him in the semi-windups. He started hitting the bottle. Played the dames. Oh, yeah, here we are.
Can I see that, please?
Oh, sure. Here we are. Thank you. Billy the Kid. Big, beefy boy. Real sucker for right cross.
1637 Carver Avenue. That's the last address you got on him?
Whatever the card says, yeah. Real sucker for the old right cross.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman.
You're welcome, boys. Anytime. What's he done?
We just want him for questioning.
Oh, I see.
If you should hear from him, don't tell him we're looking for him.
Let's go. Thanks again.
What do you think he did wrong?
I don't know. How do you block a right cross? We called the new information into Captain Walker, and he sent a crew of men to the Boxing Commission to check further. 1637 Carver Avenue. It was a cheap rooming house in the west side of town. Marshall hadn't lived there for over a year and a half. The landlady gave us a forwarding address. The next place hadn't seen him for a year. We kept checking and rechecking, going from one end of town to the other. Each place was a little better than the last. It was easy to trace Billy the Kid's rise in the fight game, such as it was, by the condition of the places he lived in. We covered 6 different rooming houses, boarding houses, and apartments. Each time his residence had been a little more recent. 5:15 p.m., Monday, August 11th. We pulled up in front of the Sunflower Hotel, 433 Banyan Street. Rates, $2 a week and up.
Nobody at the desk. I'll ring the bell.
How do you do?
Police officers. Have you got a Billy Marshall registered here?
No, no one by that name here.
You take a look at this picture. Either one of these men live here?
Oh, sure. That's Tom Green and George Martin, room 9.
They in now?
I could buzz their room and see.
No, never mind. Room 9, you said.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Let's go.
Room 9.
Cover me.
Right.
Yeah?
Special delivery letter.
Slip it under the door.
You have to sign for it. All right, stand still, police officer.
Tom.
Watch it, Ben.
Take the other one, Tom. Joe, look out.
All right, hold it right there, Marshal. Get over there against the wall. You, get up. Over there with him. Move. Give me a hand, Joe. I'll help you up. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
There he is, Joe. Looks like his picture fits the description.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
He's no sucker for a right cross.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 27th, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Both William Marshall and his accomplice were found guilty of armed robbery and grand theft auto and are now serving their terms as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet transcribed from Los Angeles. Screen Directors presents Lucille Ball as Miss Grant tomorrow on NBC.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon, Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb starred as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for trouble, suspense, and adventure in tonight's story of the man who liked the mountains. This is the way it started. It was about 6 o'clock last Monday night. I was home cooling myself off when the phone began jumping around on top of the desk.
Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
This is Melody. Mr. Lyon calling.
I'm out. You can't find me.
That's no attitude. Here he is.
Hey, Melody.
Regan, I got a job for you to do.
You can tell me all about it tomorrow morning. So long.
Now, wait a minute. It's got to be taken care of now, tonight.
Look, I worked hard all day. I'm tired.
I told
Get
you
somebody
to be
else.
there in 15 minutes. Now, take this down. Office and Taft Building right by your place. He's an attorney. Name of Collins Knight.
Collins Knight. What rock did you look under for him?
Now, don't be smart just because the guy serves a little time once.
And gets himself disbarred and re-entered and tied up with every piece of gambling from here to Reno.
I'm not interested in who they are, what they've done, as long as they can pay the bills. And Collins Knight is just the baby who can do it. So hop over there and find out what's what. And call me if you run into any trouble.
Collins Knight, attorney at law, Taft Building. Turned out to be a medium-sized man, about 50, in a loud tan sport coat and black and white polka dot tie.
The good tailoring on his shoulders didn't cover up that 45-year-old stomach, but it didn't seem to bother him. He smiled when I walked in his office, pulled out a bottle of bonded stuff and a couple of tall glasses.
Sit down, Regan. Make yourself comfortable. Say when.
When?
I'm a four-finger man, too. Yeah. Here's to you. Cigar?
I don't use them.
You don't mind if I do. Yeah. Now then, I asked you to come here because I want you to find Big Ed Kittredge for me. Been missing 3 days, according to his wife.
From pictures, I seen a Big Ed. He'd be a hard man to miss.
Yeah, I figure the same way, Regan, but he's been gone for 3 days, and I think someone's either cooled him off or he's lammed.
Why do you think somebody cooled him?
Oh, a man like Big Ed's bound to have a lot of enemies. For one reason or another.
Why do you think he lammed?
For one reason or another.
Friend or enemy?
Neither. I just know the guy. It's one of my people. I handle a couple of things for him. His wife is worried about him.
I didn't know people like Big Ed had wives.
Well, they do. At least Ed does, and a darn cute little girl she is. Inez. Yes, very pretty little girl.
Tell me about him.
He's gone.
What about his wife? Where'd he meet her? When did he marry her? I gotta have something.
I don't know.
Well, I'll have to see her.
Okay, see her.
You don't much care whether I find Big Ed or not, do you?
Nope.
Thanks for the drink.
You don't like me, do you, Regan?
No.
Well, most people don't. So long, Shamus. Keep in touch.
The name on the door said Mr. and Mrs. Edward Kittredge. It was a clean door in a clean hall with a nice new carpet on the third floor of an apartment house over on Franklin. I figured $100 and up for a bachelor. She was pretty. Red hair, the mahogany kind. Green eyes. 24, maybe. But she could look 16, just coming off the beach and wearing those gold sandals.
Yes?
Miss Kittredge?
Hi, my name's Kittredge.
My name's Regan. I'm a private detective. Collins Knight hired me. He said your husband's missing.
Oh, come in, Mr. Regan.
I told him I'd want to talk to you. Okay if I sit down?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry, Mr. Regan.
Can you tell me anything about him? His friends? Business?
You ever heard of Big Ed Kittredge?
Oh, yeah. He's been around. Makes the papers now and then.
You know what kind of friends he might have.
What about his business?
I love Mr. Regan. I was hopping cars in Glendale 2 years ago. The movie contract they brought me out from Iowa to keep wasn't anything more than a lot of talk. And I had to eat. One day, a big man came in. I waited on him.
Big Ed.
Yeah. After that, he kept coming in. I began going out with him. When he asked me to marry him, I married him. I didn't ask him what he did for a living or how he spent his time. He was good to me. He's always been good to me. Now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been gone more than 5 hours since we were married. He gave me everything, done everything for me.
And you don't ask questions?
And I don't ask questions. But there's one thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, our partner here, the man named Axman, was here 2 nights ago. That was the night Ed left. He'd never come back.
Axman?
Yeah. Ed was in the kitchen. I was in the bedroom. I thought I heard him quarrel, and when he came out, Axman had his hat in his hand. He was leaving. Ed went with him.
Mm-hmm. That it?
Well, yeah, that's it. I ain't seen him since then. Think anything's happened to him? You think he's all right?
I think you ought to tell me the truth.
What?
All the pictures I seen in the paper of Big Ed Kittredge were of a big man with a pipe in his face. I don't see any pipe racks around here, but I see where they might have been.
Why, you...
And if I went to his closet, I bet I wouldn't find any of Ed's clothes around here either. Now, come on. Tell me about that argument.
All right, you win, Peter. The same thing we've been arguing about for 3 years. He drinks too much. He plays the horses too much. And besides, he socked me.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
All right, fine. I got fed up. Told him to get out.
Only now you want him back. Why?
Just long enough to serve him some divorce papers and get a property settlement.
I thought it'd be something like that.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Regan. Wait a minute. About Axman, I wasn't lying. He hates Ed, even if they are partners. Something from the old days. Axman walked in when Ed and me was having our knockdown. He saw it all. If he wanted to bump Ed, he could do it. Somehow he'd fix it so it looked like I'd done it. He's a crime.
You think he'd make a good witness?
Well, Axman's a smart guy. Just the doorman and the clerk downstairs, heard Ed and me arguing. We get kind of loud. I might have said something about killing Ed. Sure make me look sick if Ed turned up dead somewhere.
Yeah, it would.
You gonna help me?
I'm already hired, lady.
Thanks, Peter, thanks. Sorry I put on that act.
You were pretty good. Wrong props, that's all. I'd try that studio again if I were you.
Yeah? They're a bunch of slobs. They wouldn't give no gal a break.
Maybe you're right.
It ain't bad for a peeper. When this is all over, let's only have a drink somewhere or something, huh?
Yeah, something.
I'd like to meet a nice guy. A real nice guy, just once. Just once.
2 minutes later, in front of the apartment house, I was lighting a cigarette and thinking over what Inez Kittredge had just told me when a soft hand belonging to the soft arm, body, and face of a little pug I knew named Louis Pacheco settled on my arm.
Regan.
All right, punk, what is it?
I've been waiting for you, Regan. Been with Big Ed's wife, huh? Nice fish, huh? I seen it. I got some business with you, Regan.
Yeah?
Yeah. You're looking for Big Ed Kittredge, ain't you?
Maybe.
Yeah, then I could tell you something that'll help.
All right, go on, tell me.
Now, without you giving me something for the trouble.
How much can you tell me?
Maybe what Big Ed is.
Okay, 5.
What? Tell somebody else.
Suit yourself, punk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Regan.
Well?
He shagged up the mountain town, yeah. Has a place up there called Hideaway. And not many people know about it, not even his wife. Yeah, he went up with a guy named Axman 3 days ago. Ed's got some slot machines and stuff like that up around there.
That all?
Yeah, that's enough for you, Gumshoe.
Okay. Here.
Keep it. I don't need your lousy sawbuck. Keep it, you chiseling cheapskate. Cheapskate.
I don't care what kind of people are involved. I told you that before, and I'm telling you again. If they play rough, let them do it, just so we get paid.
All right, fatso. Then get yourself somebody else to take over. I quit.
No. Just a minute, Regan. Just a minute. Let's not fly off the handle about this thing. Not be hasty.
They're a bunch of bums, and you know it.
Well, now perhaps I was a bit indiscreet accepting a client like Collins Knight with his reputation and all that.
And it isn't only him. It's the man I'm supposed to find and his friend Axman and anybody else who knows him.
Now, Jeffrey, I'm sure that a man of your talents could locate Ed Kittredge without any trouble. After all, Jeffrey, you've dealt with people like this before and always handled it admirably. Very admirably.
I don't like it. Knight hires me to find Big Ed Kittredge. Only he doesn't care whether I find him or not. Big Ed's wife only wants to find him so she can slap a court order on him, and both of them tell me that Big Ed might be dead.
Well, now let's not jump at their conclusions, Jeffrey. I'll have to admit the whole thing looks fishy. Jeffrey, I want you to find Big Ed Kittredge as soon as you can.
Look, I just told you
that. I know, but the fact of the matter is, I have an agreement with Knight in writing.
You have
and
what?
You know what kind of a man he is. He's very tricky. He could close International if we don't stay on this case. If you don't stay on the case.
Okay, you win.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Expenses?
Of course.
After I drive up to Mountain Town, I might find Big Ed up there.
Of course. Be careful, Jeffrey. Be careful and...
Oh, don't give me that phony line about calling you.
Now, Regan.
Yeah?
Call me if you run into any trouble. How far to Mountain Town?
You're here, Pilgrim. This is it. That black place over there's the lake. And that black place over there's the town. Cabins round the lake. No one round the town. Fill her up?
Yeah, fill her up. Where can I get some coffee? I've been driving half the night.
30 feet to your right and inside the door. Janie will fix you up. We're open all night.
Thanks.
No trouble? No trouble at all?
You better look at that oil.
Glad to.
Tires and water.
Glad to.
You can move it if you want to. I'll be in getting coffee.
Don't worry. Don't get enough business at 1 in the morning to stay open. I'm going to talk to the boss about it someday.
Hey. Hey.
Hi, dear young fella. I'm coming. What do you want to hit the counter like that for? Well, I thought you was Eve. I didn't know it was a customer.
Who's Eve?
Him. Eve Holton that runs the station. What's yours?
What's my what?
Name?
Well, as long as we're being formal, it's Regan. Jeff Regan. Oh, you're Janie.
Well, say. How'd you know that?
Eve.
He told you. Well, say.
How about some coffee, Janie? Huh?
Oh, sure. You been traveling far, Mr. Regan?
From Los Angeles.
Going far?
Right here.
This stump. You don't tell me you're going to be here this summer.
Little while.
Well, say. I'm off in an hour. I got a little cabin on the other side of the lake.
Well, that's nice. Do much fishing?
Fishing? You're cute.
Yes, I am. No, thanks. I'll take it black.
Oh, what you going to do here?
Look for a man.
Yeah? Say, what man?
You might be able to help me, Janie. A cottage called Hideaway. Man named Kittredge.
Big Ed Kittredge, you a friend of his?
Car's all ready, Pilgrim.
Thanks.
Janie, don't you think you ought to go see how the fire's doing?
What fire?
Make one.
All right, Eve, all right. Do you think as a girl takes a job slinging hair, she has to listen to a lot of balloons and later she's like you working the summer?
Janie's too friendly.
I like friendly people. Keep the car here, will you? I'm looking for a Hideaway cottage, and I don't see any road going around the lake there. I guess I'll have to hoof it.
Hideaway? East shore of the lake. About half a mile from here. You're right, there's no road. You'll have to walk.
Thanks.
Don't mention it, Pilgrim. Don't mention it.
Well, the cottage turned out to be an all-white, phony log cabin affair. I pounded on the door. Nobody answered. There was a sick kind of oil lamp burning inside, so I pounded on the door some more, and some more people didn't answer. When I put my hand on the latch, the door opened, people or no people, so I went in. Well, you can believe this or not, but somebody was there, right in front of the fireplace, only he was dead. And one whole side of his head was dark and shining. It was still warm. Nope, you're wrong. It wasn't Big Ed Kittredge. This was a man I'd never seen before in my life.
We'll return to Jeff Regan, Investigator, in just a moment. An easy way to save for future security is by a payroll deduction of savings bonds. If you're not paid on a salary basis, you can purchase savings bonds at your nearest post office, bank, or savings and loan association office. Now is the time to ask your employer to start deducting for savings bonds or to buy a bond on your own. If no other plan is feasible, your bank will deduct enough each month from your savings or checking account to buy a savings bond. For money in the future, buy United States savings bonds. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to the story of the man who liked the mountain and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I stood there and looked at what was left of whoever he was. Wasn't anything in his pockets, labels, cut off his suit, no laundry marks. Then I began looking around for a poker or a hammer or something. What I found was a heavy piece of kindling wood. One end of it was stained. Then I heard somebody come in the door. I saw striped overalls, flashlight, and .45 Colt revolver held by Eve Holton. He looked at the dead man, looked at me, looked at the piece of wood in my hand.
Dead?
Yeah.
Friend of yours?
Never saw him before in my life.
I did.
Yeah?
Name's Axman. Tom Axman. friend of Big Ed Kittredge.
Friend?
Why'd you kill him? I'll just take your gun. Mm-hmm. Safer this way.
You always wrap a gun in a handkerchief?
Only when I want to keep fingerprints on it. Evidence.
So it's that way.
Uh-huh. It's that way.
You kill him?
You did. There was a big fight. You conked him with that piece of wood, then shot him in the head. I saw it.
My gun, my bullets, that's pretty neat. But he was still killed with this.
Who's going to be able to tell?
A good coroner?
We got a lousy coroner out here. He don't know from nothing.
That makes me the fall guy.
You're it, Pilgrim. Let's go find ourselves a cop.
Eve waved his gun at me, and I started ahead of him for the door. Oh, he was good at doing frame-ups, and he was good at running things, but he was only an amateur when it came to pushing a man with a gun. I waited to feel it in my back. By the time I got to the door, it was there, and that was his mistake. I shoved him up against the wall, but he didn't drop the gun. Before he could do anything, I was running for the black place that he told me was the lake.
Come back here, Regan! Come back here!
I ran till I was out of breath.
What? Who is it? Who's there?
Take it easy, Jane. It's me.
Uh-huh. Oh, Mr. Regan, it's you. Hey, listen, he's looking everywhere for you.
I know.
He says you killed a man, Tom Axman, over in Kittredge's cabin.
I know.
But you didn't kill him, I know that.
Yeah?
Come on, we can't talk here. Someone will see us. This is my place. Boy, I got some things to tell you, Mr. Regan. I don't like this place, and I don't like Eve Holden, and I don't like anything that's been going on. You got to get out of here. Get out fast. Come on in. Look, I quit my job tonight. I didn't want to get mixed up in any of this.
Any of what?
This killing and... Gee, I don't know what all. Oh, I better pull the curtain. Someone might see in here. This is a scary place.
You say you know I didn't kill Axman. How?
Well, I've been working in Mountain Town a couple of weeks now, and I've seen a lot of screwy things.
Like what?
Like Eve Holton. He works for Big Ed Kittredge. And Big Ed ain't no saint.
Have you seen Big Ed?
I mean, he drove up a couple of nights with that Tom Axman. I think Ed killed him.
Yeah?
They'd been drinking a lot, and they both talked kind of loud to Eve. And Big Ed and Axman went over to the cabin. I didn't think anything of it till they didn't show up for something to eat the next morning. Ain't nothing to eat in that cabin.
That helps, Janie. Go on.
Well, Eve's been going up around that mountain, taking a look every day, for no reason at all.
Yeah, sure he has. Only he isn't looking at the mountain.
Scared. Look, mister, my jalopy's out in back of the filling station. Just take me with you. I'll tell everything I heard and seen, and we can let some cops figure out all that. Hey, what's that?
It was a hand firing a gun at her. It figured to be my gun. I hit the oil lamp and it went down on the floor. Then I heard somebody outside on the porch. I crawled in the dark till I found a wall and a window. It wouldn't open, so I took half of it with me.
Hey, what is this?
Come here, you. Now, look, punk. I just drove 85 miles in 100 minutes. 7 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't been to bed all night. I saw one dead man and one woman made dead.
Easy on that stuff, Regan.
And some of your playmates up at Mountain Town trying to make sure that I get hooked with it.
Now, wait a minute.
Oh, start talking, punk.
Wait a minute. What do you want me to say? I don't know nothing about no stiffs and no Mountain Town.
All right. When somebody like you comes sidling up to me and tells me where to find my man and doesn't take $5 for it, that means he's already got dough.
That's Regan.
And they only give you dough for work.
Gee whiz, Regan, you know I wouldn't mix up in no killing. I can't stand that kind of thing.
Punk, who paid you to tell me to go to Mountain Town? Who paid you to send me up there and make a patsy out of me?
Let go. Let go. I'll tell you, Regan. I'll tell you. It was Knight, the lawyer. Yeah, Collins Knight. He slipped me 50 to pay you and give you the dope.
Nice. I might have known. Go on.
That's all. Honest, that's all there is to it. I take you over to Big Ed's apartment. You talk to his wife, and you know the rest.
Can I tell you why?
You know I never asked any question. I just do what I get paid for. Nobody ever let me in on something big. I didn't know it was no frame.
Okay, punk.
Listen, if Knight ever finds out I told you...
Shut up.
What are you going to do?
Hi, Regan. Hard night, huh?
He made me tell him. He made me tell him, Mr. Knight.
Sure, Regan. Don't worry about it. I got up early, Regan. Kind of figured you'd be looking up the punk here. Eve phoned from Mountain Town. Said you lammed out on him twice. You're a pretty tough boy, aren't you? Here, punk. Buy yourself something and forget you ever saw Regan, okay?
Oh, sure, Mr. Wright, sure.
Okay, Regan? Let's get going. We've got a long drive ahead of us.
I'll be able to drive it blindfolded someday.
Someday.
I'm still your patsy.
Mm-hmm. I take you back there and we call a cop. Now, come on. Eve will be getting anxious.
Well, you can't say I didn't find my man. Even if I did find him sitting in that same cabin with a couple of corpses on the floor. Big Ed Kittredge. He needed a shave. He was sitting there looking at Axman's body and Janie. I guess Eve had brought her over from her place. Eve was there, too, holding my gun against Big Ed's back. Was still wrapped in that handkerchief.
Knight, I thought you'd never get here. Come on, let's get this over with.
Now, don't be nervous, Eve. Ed, I want you to meet Jeff Regan. He killed you. Hiya, bro. You're the fall guy, huh? Tough luck.
Where'd you find him?
Where I said I'd find him, at the punks.
Still using my gun to kill people?
Not quite finished, Pilgrim. 2 down, 1 to go. Very easy to figure.
I'm next, huh? Yeah. Sorry, Ed. It has to be business. Me and Eve will take over where you and Axman will leave off. Hey, Bo, we're going to let him rub me out and pin all this on you, or we're going to do something about it?
Take it easy, Ed.
I think we ought to do something about it.
Watch your knees, me.
Big Ed was good. He stopped the first 2 slugs from Eve's gun, and the first 2 out of Knight's. By that time, I got a hold of a poker, and I brought it into Knight's face. He looked kind of sick and went down without a sound. When I looked around, Big Ed was twisting a gun from Eve's hand. Blood pouring from 4 holes in his chest.
So he ain't so easy at that, huh? Guess the frame won't work now.
Where's your phone around here? I'll get you a doc.
Well, Sawbone's gonna help me. Save yourself the trouble. I never knew they burned like this. What's your name? Oh.
Regan. I'm a private detective with International.
Oh? Lyons still run that dump?
Yeah, he does.
Old bum, ain't he? Night hire you to find me?
Yeah.
He's real tricky. Well, they ain't making a patsy out of you anyhow. Look, Regan, I done you a favor. Fix the deal for me, will you?
Sure, Ed, sure.
I got a wife named Inez.
Met her.
Pretty, huh? Look, tell her I wasn't sore. I didn't really leave it. I just came up here to let her cool off. I kind of like the mountain. That's why I had a place.
Sure, I'll tell her.
Oh, this is a bunk, ain't it? Regan.
I'm here, Ed.
You found me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lyons died. $2 says Lyons won't give you no bonus for it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I called the sheriff, who had a face like a boiled beet. He listened to the whole thing, and then we kind of pieced it out together. You see, the day I got there, Big Ed killed Axman. I guess they got into some kind of an argument, and Ed picked up a piece of kindling wood. Well, at that time, Eve Holton showed up and saw what had happened, and he figured he had something. So he pulled a gun on Ed and stuck him in a cellar somewhere. Then he phoned Knight down in Los Angeles. It was a good chance for Knight and Eve to take over, so they figured to kill Ed and get a fall guy for both murders. That was me. Didn't come out quite that way. Eve had to kill Janie, too. hall with my gun. You know the rest. Oh, Lion Cash night's check. He was happy.
Hey, that sheriff up there's going to call you for the coroner's inquest this afternoon.
Yeah, I know.
Technical charge of manslaughter. Yeah, they'll clear you in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So, did he? Imagine that big crook. Hey, where you going? Remember, you got to be up in Mountain Town this afternoon.
I'll be there. I got to go over and see Big Ed's wife first. He asked me to tell her something.
Big Ed's wife?
That's right.
Forget it, Regan. She's glad he's dead, same as everybody else.
I'm going over to see Big Ed's wife.
Why do you want to go sticking your nose back into it?
Because Ed was dying and he asked me to do it.
Lots of guys ask for lots of screwy things when they're dying. They wouldn't bring them up unless they were sure they didn't have to stick around and see what had happened. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Where you going?
Over to see Big Ed's wife.
At no time in our nation's history has it been more important to develop an outstanding Army medical department. Without an adequate nurse corps, this can't be accomplished. And nurses are still needed to fill the estimated requirements for 1948. If you are a graduate registered nurse over 21 and under 45, you're invited to apply for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you are selected, you may choose either active duty or inactive status. Apply to the Adjutant General, Washington 25, D.C. Jack Webb is starred as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS same time next week for hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Also heard on tonight's program was Jeff Chandler, Betty Lou Gerson, Edgar Barrier, William Conrad, Sidney Miller, and Laurette Philbrand. Jeff Regan, Investigator is written by E. Jack Newman, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, with original music by Dick Arant. If you like mystery, here Find That Clue with Mystery Master Ken Crossan quizzing the top mystery writers of Hollywood and a special guest this Monday night over most of these same CBS stations. Here Find That Clue Monday night 8:30 over most of these stations with Turhan Bey. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has been murdered, her identity unknown. The body shows the marks of a savage attack. Your job, find the killer.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, From crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, December 25th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. My name's Friday. It was 39 minutes past 5 a.m. when I got to San Andreas Cathedral on 1st Street. Churchyard. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Joe. Body's over here.
All right.
Merry Christmas, huh?
Yeah.
Section from the church found it about an hour ago. Have a look. Pretty brutal.
Yeah. Okay. Who is she?
No identification.
The coroner checked the body yet?
Yep.
How long's she been dead?
When it started raining. About midnight, didn't it?
Yeah. The ground's dry under the body.
Oh, been dead 5 or 6 hours, I'd say.
Ben get here yet?
Yeah, he's helping Claudio check the area.
This park here, is this all a part of the church grounds?
I think so. I was stuck out of this rain for a minute. There's an alcove over there by the church.
Yeah, look. How much we got to go on, Dave?
Not much. Motive looks like robbery. Found a woman's purse near the body. Pretty well picked over. Purse is wet. Lee Jones is dusting the contents for Chris. Coroner's checking.
Any idea what the killer used in the woman's face?
The coroner figures a sharp instrument of some kind. A nasty one.
Yeah.
Friday, you look wet.
Hi, Ali. So do you.
Everything happened on Christmas. Purse was soaking wet.
Ordinary black handbag.
Raise any prints on the stuff inside?
Not a one. Here, you can check the contents.
Thank you. Let's see. Small comb. Most of the teeth out of it. 3 pennies. Hairpins, mirror, lipstick.
That's it, Ali.
A couple more things.
Yeah.
This fountain pen, this door key. Armstrong found them in the grass a few feet from the body.
Can I have a look at those?
Yeah, it's an ordinary ballpoint fountain pen. Buy them in any drugstore for 69 cents.
No sign of rust on the key. Must have been dropped recently.
Maybe this will explain what happened to her face. Broken beer bottle.
Where'd you find that?
Laughlin found it back in the bushes over there. These jagged edges here smeared with blood.
Mm-hmm.
Too much rain. Can't do anything about prints till it dries.
Can you get enough from these smears to run a precipitant?
Think so.
Lee, got a minute?
Yeah, Ben, what is it?
Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Claudio found a set of footprints over by that clump of shrubbery. Rain hasn't spoiled them yet.
Did you cover them?
Yeah, I think you can get a pretty good cast from them.
Better get a picture of them right away. Hey, Charlie.
Right with you, Lee.
I'll get the stuff from the car. You mind giving me a hand, Dave?
Oh, let's go.
Well, this takes care of Christmas, Joe.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to check the body yet?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, there's no sign of struggle. Could have happened after a Christmas Eve brawl, maybe.
Yeah?
Whoever the victim is, she was probably acquainted with the killer. The two of them came in the park, and the victim got it before she knew what was happening.
Might work easier if we find out who the victim is.
And we can check her prints through R&I when we get back to the office. What'd those footprints look like?
Seemed like a heavy print, maybe work shoes of some kind. Want to see how Lee's making out?
Yeah, let's go.
Gonna miss Christmas dinner again this year. Footprint, fountain pen, and key. Where do we start?
It's a cheap pen. They sell thousands of them. Want to smoke?
Oh, thanks. Footprints will help convict the killer. Gotta find him first. Thank you.
I don't know. Maybe we can work a switch.
How's that?
Find the lock that fits the key. 9 a.m., Christmas Day. Sergeants Dave Arroyo, Robert Claudio, Ben, and I went back to the office and took stock of what we had to work with. It wasn't much. A woman had been murdered. Who was she? Why was she killed? Who was the killer? Dave and Claudio had the dead woman's fingerprints taken, and they were run through the record bureau. Ben and I checked with Lee Jones at the crime lab. The results of the precipitant test showed that the type of blood found on the broken beer bottle matched that of the victim. From the cast of the foot impressions found at the scene of the killing, Lee estimated that they were made by a person approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing about 160 pounds. He figured the foot gear must have been of a heavy type, either a boot or a dress shoe with thick double soles, size 11. 9:40 a.m. We checked in at the basement of the Hall of Justice, the county morgue. Doc, how's it going?
Oh, there, Joe. Death caused by multiple fracture of the skull. Flashing in the face was a contributing cause. I sent her close to Lee Jones.
Yeah, we know. No laundry mark.
Well, I got two things. Maybe they'll help, maybe they won't.
Yeah?
The chemist's report here on the blood analysis shows the victim was drinking. She was definitely under the influence at the time she was murdered. 0.12% alcohol in the blood.
Mm-hmm. How about the murder weapon, Doc? We gonna rule out that beer bottle?
I'm just coming to that. Step over here.
Yeah?
This mark here on the side of her face, brown smudge.
Well, Jones says that that's shoe polish. He analyzed a few of the particles.
Ties in. The cause of death was brought about by severe blows in the head and face.
Heavy shoe, huh?
That's my guess. Probably a boot or a work shoe.
That doesn't add, Joe.
How do you mean?
If they were heavy work shoes the killer was wearing, why would they polish? How many people polish their work shoes?
Could be waterproofing.
No, Jones says it was a brown paste polish.
And it doesn't figure.
Unless the killer was wearing some kind of dress boots.
Cycle boots, maybe. Hundreds of kids on motorcycles wear them.
Yeah. That's going to be about as helpful as a key or a cheap fountain pen.
Excuse me. County Morgue, Tyson speaking. Yeah, all right, Frank. I'll tell him. Cunningham at R&I wants to see you right away.
What's up?
They made the victim's prints.
During the war years, a complete file of pictures and fingerprints had been kept on all persons employed at local defense plants. Out of this file came our first major lead. The victim's fingerprints matched those of one Maria Camacho, 38 years old, formerly employed at Universal Aircraft. Her address in 1945 was listed as 9230 Sheridan Avenue. Ben and I went over to the crime lab, picked up the key and the fountain pen found near the body, and drove to the Sheridan Avenue address. The house was 3 blocks from the churchyard where the body was found. A young woman with a baby in her arms answered the door. She identified herself as Elena Gomez. She told us Maria Camacho was her aunt. They were expecting her for Christmas dinner late that afternoon. We told her what happened. When she recovered from the shock, we questioned her and her husband, a furniture worker.
So hard for me to believe. Why anyone would do this to me?
When's the last time you saw her, Mr. Gomez?
She was around last night, Sergeant. She brought the presents for the kids. Always brought them presents on Christmas.
Did she live here? Was this her permanent address?
No. She stayed with us during the war when Ray was overseas. When he came back, she took a room down the street. I can give you the address.
All right. What time did Maria leave the house last night?
Well, let's see. Must have been around 10 o'clock. Not much later. Don't you think, Elena? About 10 o'clock?
Yeah, let's go see what those kids are doing, huh, Ray?
Yeah, all right.
Did Maria have anything to drink here last night, Miss Gomez?
Yes, we shared a glass of sherry together, that's all.
Could you tell if she'd been drinking before she came here?
Oh, it's Christmas Eve. I guess she'd had a few. Why?
Was she a pretty heavy drinker?
Not usually, no. Maybe on the holidays, though. We like to get out and have fun, living alone and all that. Poor Maria.
Oh, did she drink at home, or was there some particular place she liked to go?
A cantina down on Soda Street. She used to go there.
Any others?
A couple of bars on Brooklyn Avenue. I don't know the names.
What did Maria do for a living, Miss Gomez?
She took in some dressmaking. Worked for herself. She wasn't poor, wasn't rich. Her landlady could tell you about her friends.
Kids are hungry, Lana. Dinner's getting cold.
Sorry that we had to break in on you like this.
Well, it's all right, Sergeant. It's just the kids.
Ask the officers if they want some mince pie, Ray. Cup of coffee.
No. That's all right, Miss Gomez, thank you.
Just one more thing. Would you look at these, please? This pen.
Sure, that's Maria's. Look, Ray, Maria's pen.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about this key?
No, I never saw that before.
Neither did I.
Well, thanks very much, both of you. Sorry to hold up your dinner.
Oh, that's all right. I'm not hungry. Hey, maybe I could fix you a turkey sandwich.
No, thank you, Jeff. The same we have to be going.
We'll contact you later on. Here's our card.
All right. I can't think of a reason, Sergeant. Why someone would kill her. Why would they kill Maria? Poor Maria.
Come on.
Nice kid. Seem to be having a good Christmas.
Too bad we had to spoil it. We drove down the street to the rooming house where Maria Camacho stayed. We talked to the landlady and the rest of the tenants, who failed to come up with a lead. They told us Maria Camacho drank a little, but she was always pleasant, easy to get along with. We checked her room. We went through stacks of Spanish-language newspapers and magazines. We went through her bills, photographs, her letters. We found nothing. There wasn't an item in the small apartment that could help us. We went through the entire rooming house, trying each door with a key that we'd found by the body. It didn't fit any of them, not even the door to the victim's room. 5 p.m., there was a lull in the rain. We picked up Dave and Claudio and started to explore the only lead we had. The victim had been drinking a few hours before she'd been murdered, probably at a neighborhood tavern. For the next 6 hours, we canvassed every bar in the vicinity. 11:15 p.m., Christmas night. The four of us met in a combination bar-restaurant at Brooklyn and Soto for a bite to eat.
You had as much luck as we did, huh?
Nothing, Dave. Everybody we talked to knew the woman. Nobody saw her Christmas Eve.
We picked up the names of a dozen friends of hers from the bartenders. Checked them out. They couldn't tell us anything.
Well, we still got another dozen bars to cover at least. She must have been in one of them last night.
Wish we'd find it. My wife's sure mad.
You got company, so's mine.
All right, gentlemen. Who had the grilled ham sandwich?
I did.
All right. And 3 hamburgers?
Yeah.
There we go. Our plate.
You got some ketchup, please?
Sure. Say, you wouldn't like a little eggnog to go with that. It's good. I make the batter myself.
No.
Hey, there is something you can do for us.
Yes, sir?
Would you look at this picture?
All right.
See if you can identify this woman.
Sure looks like Maria. Yeah, that's her. You know her?
Was she in here last night, do you know?
Yeah, she was.
What time was she in?
Oh, about 11:30. Why?
Was she with somebody?
Oh, half a dozen of them at least. Maria, another woman, and 4 or 5 men.
Were they drinking?
Well, they were well behaved. Just had a little Christmas cheer, that's all. They liked my eggnog.
At what time did Maria leave? Do you remember?
Well, no, not exactly, but she left before the others. They closed the place. You fellas cops?
Did she leave alone?
No, Tony followed her out. I think it must have been sometime around midnight. I'm not sure.
Who's Tony?
Tony Perez. He's busboy here. He knows Maria.
Where's he now?
Christmas. He's off. Lives in a hotel down the street someplace. I don't know.
Time fits. Maybe the key does. Dave and Claudio started to check the neighborhood to locate the hotel where Tony Perez stayed. Ben and I continued our canvass of bars and restaurants in the area. 1 a.m., the rain started in again. We checked in at a bar on Brooklyn Avenue near Cornwall, the Cantina Sinaloa.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen?
Police officers. Would you look at this picture, please, see if you can identify it?
Wait till I dry my hands. Let's just getting some of these glasses out of the way. Let's see.
You ever see her before?
Oh, yeah, that's Maria. Too bad. I read in the papers about it.
Can you tell us if she was in here last night?
No, I didn't see her. I read in the papers about it, though. Terrible. Poor Maria.
Is it possible she might have been in? You didn't see her?
No, I always know when Maria's here. She was always full of fun. She liked to sing. I better get these glasses finished.
Ben, you want to call the office?
Yeah, okay.
How about a drink, Sergeant? You don't look so good.
You got any coffee?
It's not very fresh. It's been standing there a couple of hours.
Well, that's all right.
Okay. Here. Here's the sugar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's not very warm, huh?
Oh, that's okay.
What do you think, officer? The guy was crazy?
I don't know.
He must have been crazy. Lots of nice rain. That's good for the farmers.
Yeah.
Sure.
You ever see this key before?
Let's see. I don't know.
Joe.
Yeah.
Dave and Claudio found the hotel that picked up Tony Perez. Took him in.
What did he tell him?
Dave says they're talking to him now. He won't say much.
Did they find anything on him?
He's wearing a pair of dark brown boots.
Yeah.
Well polished.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of skater Larry Jackson, one of the stars of the Los Angeles Ice Capades. This is his actual signed statement.
When the excitement of the show is over, a mild cigarette is important for smoking enjoyment. I found Fatima the most enjoyable king-size cigarette because it's extra mild. I agree, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, December 26th, 9 a.m. We checked Tony Perez through R&I. He had a record of 7 arrests, but no convictions. During the past year, he'd been booked on suspicion of 211 PC, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and second-degree burglary. In each instance, he'd been released for lack of evidence. All of his shoes and clothing were brought to the crime lab for examination. 9:25 a.m. We brought Perez back to the interrogation room. He admitted that he had been with Maria Camacho Christmas Eve, but he denied having anything to do with her killing. He told us that after he had left Maria, he'd gone to a party at some friend's house. Dave and Claudio went out to check his story. I gave them the key found near the body and asked them to try it on the door to Perez's hotel room. Ben and I continued to question the suspect.
How well did you know Maria Camacho, Tony?
I told you already. She was just some old crow who used to hang around the bars, that's all. I used to talk to her once in a while.
You ever have any arguments with her?
No. How many times are you going to ask me that?
It would help a lot if you could tell us exactly where you left Maria Christmas Eve and when you left her.
I told you already. I don't remember exactly. We were drinking. We were all drinking. I don't remember.
How'd you get to that party?
I walked. Place down on Malabar Street. Maria stopped at a bar someplace along the way, and that's the last time I saw her.
Did you go in with her?
No, she went in alone. I went to the party. That's all I know.
Interrogation room Friday.
Lee Jones, Joe.
Yeah.
Check the polish on Perez's boots. It matches with the smear of polish on the victim's face. Wax components are exactly the same.
Good. How about the cast?
Nope, they didn't match. The prints we cast out there were size 11, big heel. Perez wears a 9, pretty small heel. No match at all.
What about the other stuff?
Went over the rest of his shoes, his clothes. Nothing that ties in.
Okay, Lee. Thank you. Do you shine your own boots, Tony?
No. Why?
Where do you get them shined?
I go to Angelo's, Chicago Street, right near First.
When's the last time you got a shine?
Oh, Christmas Eve.
What time Christmas Eve, Tony?
When I got off work, about 2:30 noon.
Hi. Hi, Dave.
See one of you outside a minute?
Yeah.
Perez telling the truth about the party. He was there. We timed out how long it had taken to walk from the restaurant to the party.
Yeah?
Pretty close. His friends say he got to the party about 12:30. Doesn't look like he had time to kill that woman.
Well, where does that leave us?
Still got those boots?
No, no more. They don't match the impressions at the murder scene.
Well, that makes us even.
Huh?
Here's your key back. Didn't fit.
Tony Perez was held for further investigation. Dave and Claudio took up the canvassing of bars in the same area where we had left off the night before. Ben and I drove down to Angelo's Shine Stand. It stood just outside a barber shop. 4 chairs with an awning full of cigarette holes over them. He identified Maria Camacho's picture immediately. We questioned him while he polished her shoes.
Maria, I used to tell her, Sergeant, running around like that, she had so many friends. Too many.
Did you see Maria on Christmas Eve, Angelo?
Christmas Eve? Let me see. No, last time was a few days before Christmas.
Angelo, do you know a man by the name of Tony Perez?
Tony? Sure. Tony Perez. Tall fella, big shoulder.
Was he one of your customers?
Yeah, all the time he comes to see me.
Was he here on Christmas Eve, Angelo?
Yeah, he was here. I gave him a shine. Good customer.
You remember what kind of shoes he had on?
Sure. Boots. He always wears boots.
What color were they, do you know?
Brown. Always wears brown boots. Well, what's the matter? Tony in trouble?
What kind of polish do you use on his boots, Angelo?
Well, I got the can down here. Yeah, this one here. High grade polish. If you got boots, I can fix them up.
Do you use the same polish on all the boots you shine, Angelo?
Oh, only the brown boots. That's brown polish. You fellas ask too many questions. You make me go too slow.
Well, there's no rush, Angelo. Can you tell me this?
Yeah?
Besides Tony Perez, was there anybody else with brown boots who got a shine from you Christmas Eve?
Well, I don't know. Lots of people get shine. Christmas Eve is pretty busy.
Just the people with brown boots, Angelo. Can you remember?
No, I don't think so. Tony was the only one with the brown boots. There's no others.
And how about heavy brown shoes?
Huh?
Can you remember the people with heavy brown shoes that came in for a shine?
No, I don't know. Look, please, just letting me shine your shoes, huh?
That can of brown polish, Angelo, you say that's the kind you use on Tony Perez's boots?
Yeah, that's the kind. This kind right here.
Well, can you remember how many times you used that polish on Christmas Eve?
Well, I opened this can that morning and see how much is gone. Maybe I used it, maybe half a dozen times.
Can you remember the people whose shoes call for this kind of polish?
Yeah, lots of them. Brown shoes. I know the feet when I see them. I don't know the faces.
Don't you remember any of them?
If they like the shine, might be by and by they come back. Three or four fellas, maybe. I see them before. I don't know their names. Okay, finished. You like it to shine?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Say, I'm going to buy that can of polish from you, Angelo, and we're going to check back with you later.
Okay. Here it is. That's fine polish, Sergeant. Best you can get.
Yeah, but it rubs off. December 26th, 5 p.m. We drove back to the crime lab and had Lee Jones analyze the can of shoe polish. It matched exactly with the particles of shoe polish taken from the victim's body and from the boots of Tony Perez. We arranged for a stakeout at Angelo's shine stand. In case the people with heavy brown shoes returned, Angelo could point them out immediately to the men on duty. 5:30 p.m. Dave and Claudio called in. They thought they had another nibble, this time from the bartender at the El Cedello Tavern, a bar on Soto Street. We drove down to South Main and Harlem Place for a meet.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Figured we'd better move on this tonight.
What's the pitch?
Bartender on Soto tipped me that Maria Camacho was in his place Christmas Eve. Said it was a little after midnight.
Huh?
Said she had a drink, left the place about 10 minutes past 12 with a guy called Frank Talano. Nosed around, found Miss Talano works at the Midnight Mission. Over there.
All right, let's go.
This it, Dave?
Yeah. Good Friends Mission.
Come in for a nice, warm, spiritual bath. Coffee and soup free.
Watch the stairs.
Yeah.
Now, brothers, I only hope that our little meeting here has brought you closer and made your souls to glow with the great and glorious light of the Spirit. And yes, brothers, if we be not born again of that light, as the book says, we'll be damned, brothers. Damned. Amen.
Amen.
Now, brothers, while Sister Myrtle Ferguson plays one of her stirring marches, let's join arms, brother to brother, and march into the lunchroom where, through the kind graces of one of our benefactors, Pete Boudours of the Acropolis Cafe, each one of you will be entitled to a bowl of turkey soup, some of Sister Wilson's homemade bread, and a cut of mince pie. Sister Ferguson, march.
Guess that's the man to see.
Yeah, let's go.
Sure pack him in, don't they?
That soup smells real good.
Excuse me, sir?
Yes, brother? What is it?
Police officers. Do you have a Frank Talano working here?
Well, what's the trouble?
Does he work here?
Well, yes, he's a very good man, Frank. Anything wrong?
Is he here now?
No, he isn't.
Where can we find him?
Well, I'd like to know what the trouble is.
We'd like to talk to him, mister, that's all.
Well, he has a room at Good Friends Mission Annex. That's over on San Pedro Street.
Is that his permanent residence, the Mission Annex?
Yes, Frank's very helpful. He works for a small salary, and we give him room and board.
Is he over at the Annex now?
Yes, but maybe you'd better not see him now, officer.
Why not?
Well, Frank's not at his best. He's been drinking again. That's the surest sign.
How do you mean?
Well, whenever Frank starts drinking, that means that he's worrying. He's one of those. He drinks to forget.
Yeah.
He's been drinking for 3 days.
He must have a lot to forget. Come on. 6:30 p.m. We drove over to the Good Friends Mission Annex on San Pedro Street. The man in charge told us that Talano had a small room to himself at the rear of the second floor. Dave and Claudio went around to cover the Mission Annex from the back. Ben and I went up a narrow flight of wooden stairs. plain white plaster walls were chipped and cracked and scrawled with pencil markings. We walked down to the end of a wide hallway to a brown paneled door with a transom above it. There was a man in soiled work clothes sitting on the bed. On the table next to him, there were 3-quart wine bottles. 2 of them were empty.
Get out of here. You Frank Delano? What about it?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Get out of here. You're not taking me. I'll cut you to pieces.
Drop the bottle, Delano.
Get out of here.
Drop the bottle.
I'll cut you to pieces.
Like you cut Maria.
I'll kill you.
Put it down, Delano. Drop it. Get the cuffs on.
Yeah. Let's go.
Just a minute. Yeah, it fits.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 7th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 94, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy Extra Mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Frank Dominic Delano was tried and convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Patty Page visits Jack Birch tomorrow morning on NBC.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. Down on the San Francisco waterfront, the only use they have for sentiment is to pick your pocket while you're saluting the flag. If you hang out around there as long as I have, you'll even learn to sleep with one hand on the cash box. So I wasn't expecting any cascade of lilies when Joe Adams drove down to Pier 19. He'd phoned that he was in a hurry and would stop by and pick me up in his car. He said he had a quick job for me to do. That was about all I knew about him. I wasn't worried about that either. In my work, you get used to odd-shaped hires, including those from guys who looked like a bundle of twigs with shoes on and drove like they owned the keys to the city.
Novak, this is a soft buck. All you got to do is watch the joint.
If you keep driving through red lights like that, we'll both end up looking at the ceiling in the morgue.
So I disagree with the traffic department. Look, the joint's in North Beach, Vallejo Street. Here's the number. I wrote it down.
So you can read and write.
What do you mean?
What's the pitch? You afraid of mice?
No, and there's no extra cards in this deck.
Yeah? So far, it makes about as much sense as an 8-fingered glove.
Look, I have to meet a guy in Los Angeles. I haven't much time to make my plane. I lost my keys, so I had to bust through the door to get into my place. It was too late to get a locksmith. So I want you to watch till I get back tomorrow. Is that hard?
The way you're driving, breathing's hard.
You scare easy.
I scare plenty. I like to live.
Give me a good reason.
You wouldn't understand. You expect visitors tonight?
Look, I've got some stuff that I'd like to see around when I get back. And stop trying to read between the lines in this deal. It's all in the black type.
You can say that about a funeral speech.
You still worried about the way I drive?
No. Only why take a plane when this is faster?
Okay, if you can stop shaking long enough to walk, you can start here.
On the way back, I'll look for your brains.
Grab a cab. I'll pick up the check for it. And don't knock. Go right in. I'll be seeing you.
Gladly in 4 pieces.
And keep awake, will you? Some of my neighbors would steal the handle off a blind man's cup.
Don't worry. I'll keep both eyes open.
You sound like you're saying one thing and thinking something else.
About keeping awake?
Yeah, what's worrying you, ghost?
I'm not buying this show the way you're staging it. Something sour in the deal. Yeah, that's all right, too. Just as long as you don't get any fancy ideas of making me the patsy.
Boy, you do scare easy.
Yeah, and I pay off bum debts, too.
Now I'm getting scared. So long, sucker.
Adam's joint turns out to be one of those walk-up flats. A nice wooden place that made you want to run for the firebox every time someone dropped a cigarette ash on the floor. The door was smashed around the lock all right, and the lights were out. When I found the switch and began to look around, it showed 4 rooms full of fancy furniture and decorations that made you wonder about Adam's private life. After I found out where the whiskey was located and pried 3 cushions loose from the easy chair, I looked around for something to do. There was a bookcase full of mystery stories and this and that. I passed the mysteries up without studying them. I knew that in every one of them the detective would come out on top. Yet I knew 4 private eyes who'd started out on just such trails and ended up in urns in Cypress Lawn. There was one book with a purple cover called Reckless Moonlight, with pictures. I was on page 30 with pictures when I was interrupted. They were too manly to make me glad. I jumped across the room and switched off the lights. And I stood just inside the door and waited. He didn't even knock. He came right in. From the back, he looked big enough to be a 10-ton trailer. He was fumbling in his pocket when I broke up the act. I chill up on the pocket pick, and this is the gun on your back.
If you shoot, you'll hit a policeman's badge. Think that over.
There's housebreaking a sideline with you, Hellman.
I'd know that voice in a nightmare.
They blame gangsters for the crime wave. They don't know where to look.
Just stand still, sweetheart, till I get my flash working.
You want to borrow some burglar tools?
I'll settle for some better manners, and right now.
Where I come from, better manners started with knocking before you come cramming through a door.
Where you came from, they didn't have doors. Just a damp rock. What's the idea of turning out the light?
How could I tell who was coming? You don't smell that bad.
Will you tell me why you're here, or do I bounce it out of you?
Don't worry. You can't parlay it into anything to tell a judge. A guy named Adams lives here. He had to get in a hurry, broke the lock, grabbed some things, and headed for the airport. He hired me to watch the place till he gets back tomorrow.
He hired a bulldog to watch his steak?
You don't like this story, huh? What do you want, mad musicians?
You're mad enough without music. Tell me more.
That's all there is till you started whipping into fancy trimmings.
I could see that and raise it without even string.
You couldn't raise a rumpus on New Year's Eve.
No? And how about the murder of Thomas Van Dyke?
I must have looked surprised. Hellman was pleased and mysterious. He kept prowling around the house looking at books, up on shelves and behind the furniture like he expected to find Van Dyke's body there. In the meantime, he filled me in on the case. Van Dyke had been a heavy money operator in show business, sports promotions and such. He ran around with the mink and diamond crowd and did enough charity work on the side to build up a reputation for being a pillar of the community. Everyone was surprised when he turned up dead, including the police. Someone had shot him without leaving any signature on the job. The case had remained unsolved for almost a year. Of course, at the speed Hellman thought, he might have just found out about it. Now he was passing out hints the thing had grown hot again.
I was checking through the evidence and file. I ran across something we'd missed.
Yeah, grand piano?
Some stuff in a diary. Have you been messing around in these books?
Is that why you're here? To borrow a book?
The diary didn't make any sense at the time of the death, but we turned up a vag the other day who worked with Van Dyke and some of his underground connections.
And now Van Dyke's the king of the thieves.
Something like that. I put together the stuff this vag told us with some of the things in the diary, and it began to look like pay dirt. There's a book missing.
Yeah, The Rover Boys, it's over your head, Hellman.
Death in Herald Square, it's called. And don't play that innocent routine too hard or you'll tire it out.
You're making about as much sense as a pig in a candy store.
The vag tied this address into one of the clues. How do you like them apples?
I wouldn't buy them at 10 cents a crate.
Look, Bright Eyes, I don't like waterfront punks sticking their guns in my back in the dark. I don't like you messing in this racket.
Are you unhappy, nervous, run down?
I want you to keep your nose out of this scamper, Novak. And if you think that's just a lot of breath, try me.
Why should I leave this house just because you're having a nervous decline?
Don't think I'm buying that routine about some guy hiring you to watch his clothes while they went flying. You got a lead in this murder, and you're trying to track it down.
How much is the reward again?
$10,000. Who said anything about a reward?
Yeah, so that's why you're nervous.
Keep out of this, Novak. I'm warning you.
You're hot for the payoff. I should have known you wouldn't get up off your fat...
I'm giving you one more chance to get out, Novak.
I was hired to do a job, Hellman, remember?
All right, wise guy. Come on. Open the closet.
Your nose is itching. Open it yourself.
Okay, Novak. See any men's clothes in there?
Not in this year's style.
Snap it up, Novak. Haven't you remembered by now that Joe Adams was the girl?
All right, so the guy dealt me a joker. I don't mean I'm trying to crash your party.
The dame Liz here is named Dodo Sandberg, and she ain't lonely. But you're going to be Novak, and soon.
Dodo Sandberg.
Maybe she'll come to see you in jail.
You're not booking me, Hellman.
I told you to stay out of this, Novak.
You got nothing on me but a nervous twitch because you think I might beat you to that reward.
I got nothing on you, except housebreaking. Come on down to the station.
Deal me out.
You want to argue? Hey, who turned out the lights?
I'm getting to like that Adams or somebody.
Stand where you are, Novak.
Sorry, Hellman, I just remembered the date with $10,000. Hellman chased me, but the way he's built, he didn't have a prayer. He hit the street, doubled around a couple of corners. I couldn't even hear him. When I got back my breath, I walked along for a while and tried to put what I had together. Any way I looked at it, one thing was clear. Joe Adams had played me for a country boy in some setup that had a whole lot more in it than showed on the table. I needed to see Adams to square that deal, but something Hellman told me seemed even more important. I liked the idea of trying my chances of cutting into that $10,000 reward for Van Dyke's death. All I had to work on was a dame called Dodo Sandberg and a book called Death in Herald Square. I looked at the clock and found I still had time to make it to the main library before it closed for the night, so I headed that way. When I got in the place at the Civic Center, it took the librarians quite a bit of scrambling around to get the book, but they finally turned it up just before closing time. I tucked it under my arm and started out of the place when the dame fell in step beside me. A nice set of curves tucked away in one of those new-style dresses with so many extra built-in bumps it looked like a sack of potatoes.
Didn't I meet you in Scarsdale?
The shy type.
I used to be. I outgrew it.
Keep right on growing somewhere else.
Do you have to be that way?
My hobby's books.
I noticed. That's why I wanted to meet you. I like the books you choose.
Before I pick that up, what's your name?
Dodo Sandberg. Watch out for the stairs.
So you're after the book, too?
I didn't say that.
I know it's my fascinating personality.
A very good friend of mine wrote that book.
Does my reading it strain your eyes or something?
It's very interesting. Now let's talk about you.
You get around, don't you?
What do you mean by that?
What became of Joe Adams?
That's a question for his mother to worry about, Patsy.
I don't mind helping her.
Oh, do they have to be mothers?
You need help like Midas needs dough.
There's help and help. What if a girl's lonely?
You aren't built for the job. Let's get back to Adams and the book.
Adams is no problem. He lives at the Standard Hotel on Polk Street.
Careless, isn't he, to forget that?
And how did you suddenly get a yen to read Death in Herald Square?
A cop told me about it. Why?
Because there's a better book on the same subject. It's called Death Waits Ahead.
Am I supposed to turn that into some kind of warning?
It could be. And here's a sample of what I need.
She worked fast and smooth as a piston. There was some kind of judo, I guess. I was too busy falling to be sure. The stairs didn't help any. By the time I picked myself up, she was out of sight. And so was the book. I sat there a while and thought about women. When I went back to the library desk, I didn't buy me anything. Seems they only had one copy of the book. It wasn't popular, they said. When I seemed anxious about getting a copy, they sent me to a bookstore on 3rd Street, which stayed open late. By the time I got there was nobody in the place except one of the hired help looking bored by the cash register. I asked him for the book, and he quit looking bored right away. He began to look nervous. He said he didn't have the book. He'd never heard of it, and they were closing anyway. Whatever the guy was, he didn't have a card in the Actors Union. I guess Crowley realized that as soon as I did. When I said I'd look around anyway, a curtain twitched in the back of the place, and he came out. A big guy with a nasty disposition.
You could do better than that.
Did someone send you to tell me how to live?
You're looking for death in Herald Square?
The word's all over town.
You ought to be out eating something instead of nosing around where you're not wanted. You ever heard of the prisoner eating a hearty breakfast?
That's a warning. You're third in line.
Yeah? Who else is interested?
A cop and a dame. You ought to team up and work it into three-part harmony.
When they warned you, they were just trying to act like bad news. When I warn you, it's certified.
You don't look 8 feet tall. Put some meat on your skeleton.
My name's Pete Crowley. Did you ever hear of me?
I must read the wrong funny papers.
You got connections around the city.
You can say that about a sewer pipe. Something's making you twitch. Trot it out where I can see it.
Dodo Sandberg tells me you got your nose up in the air over the Van Dyke killing.
Does that worry you?
I'm hiding right now in Mexico.
What's the death's head routine for?
Before you run to the cops with a finger, listen carefully. I picked up Van Dyke's rackets when he dropped them. They pay off very nicely. I like the way they're moving along. I don't want you or any of the eager beavers from the Kearney Street station to nose over the apple cart.
I came here for a book. You don't look like it.
Also, I don't like anybody bothering Dodo. And that includes sailor salesmen and smart guys looking for a new home.
If she doesn't want anybody ringing her bell, tell her to take the signs out of her windows.
You look like a fairly bright boy. Take a tip. Fade out of this scramble while you're still in Mobile.
And if I don't?
Stick around and I'll show you my muscles.
I'd rather look at Dodo's.
2 of my muscles used to be rustlers. Think it over.
It began to look more and more like trouble, doubled in spades. I began to get the feeling if I planned to sit in the game anymore, it was time to start counting up the cards and seeing how the mirrors were placed. And the best guy for that sort of work was an old alcoholic friend of mine called Jocko Madigan. Jocko was a one-time doctor around town who gave up his practice when he learned that alcohol made him feel better even when he wasn't sick. Finding him was like taking a phone survey of the downtown bars. I pitched a strike at the 5th one I tried. At first, he didn't like the idea of moving, but when I told him I was phoning from a 3rd Street bar, he said he'd hop a cab. He came in while I was working on my second drink.
Patsy, my boy, I'm glad to see you, both of you. Or is that only 2 heads?
I could use 2.
That's an involved way of saying you're in trouble. Goodbye.
Listen, Jocko, I got my foot in the door of a deal that might pay off big.
All you've got your foot in is a dirty shoe, Patsy, and with your usual luck, you'll probably end up with Hellman stepping on it.
He stepped on it already.
Oh, he did? Good. How is the old walrus anyway?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. I bounced into him tonight, and he was hot on the trail of the men who knocked off Van Dyke a year ago.
They're safe. Hellman couldn't put his finger on a fire eater in a darkened room.
What do you know about a book called Death in Herald Square?
What do you know about the home life of the Macrocephalus pimebombix? As I was saying before thirst choked me off, some people collect seashells, some raise dogs, some go after goldfish or matchbox covers or pretty women, but not Patsy Novak. Oh, no. Patsy's different. Patsy wants to collect murders.
Did you ever hear of the book?
What book? You're talking too fast.
Death in Herald Square. Van Dyke's murder ties into it somehow.
Talk sense, Patsy. Things are blurred enough without you jabbering nonsense.
Nonsense? I'm not on the right trail. Why have I been warned off 3 times already, including a threat from Pete Crowley?
Are you asking me?
Look, Jocko, there's $10,000 reward for the murderer.
Well, why didn't you tell me that 10 minutes ago and avoid all this verbiage?
Well, if you'd get your nose out of that whiskey bottle, you...
Skip the greetings, son. Let's get on to the money matters. What do you want me to do?
It's an old book. You know where to find it. I tried the library, but a dame called Dodo grabbed the dice.
I know just how to get it. A friend of mine in the Panhandle has a small bookstore and home distillery.
Listen, there's a Joe Adams fits in there somewhere. See what you can get on him, will you?
Do go on. You fascinate me.
Now, 2 other people were nervous about me since the thing broke. One is Crowley and the other is Dodo Sandberg. It seems to be tied to Crowley somehow. Can you get a check on him for me?
For $10,000, I can get a count on the fillings in their teeth. Is this Dodo Sandberg pretty?
Why?
I want to know where you'll be in case I have to phone. So long, lover.
I paid for Jocko's drinks and went out to the Standard Hotel. The room clerk gave me Joe Adams' number. He looked a little worried when he told me that could have been about a new boss or an old girlfriend. It could have, but it wasn't. Adams' room was on the 4th floor, and when I reached there in the elevator, Hellman almost ran over me trying to get in the cage. He was a nice salmon pink and panting like a bloodhound on a deer trail. He had a gun in one fat hand, a mouthful of verbs and adjectives.
Every time I turn a corner...
Who are you expecting, Princess Elizabeth?
Where did he go?
You better shift to the overdrive. You're racing your motor.
Where's Adams, Novak?
Don't start testing your muscles on me, Hellman. You must think I'm your wife.
This ain't playland, Novak. Adams just left his room. Where is he?
I'm not in the mood for company, Hellman.
You're going to talk. You're going to talk plenty.
What's all the pushing around about?
Don't pretend you're the country boy. You don't know what's going on.
Back up a bit and fill me in.
Adams told me he hired you to knock me off.
Yeah, and you believed it,
I know you don't work that way. But I wouldn't put it beyond you to pretend to go along with the proposition as long as you could milk a few dollars out of Adams.
With your head, it's a wonder you don't believe it that I did it.
With my head, I remember that you were waiting in a darkened apartment with a gun when I came in. That you ran out on me, and that you show up now just when Joe Adams is escaping.
You put 2 and 2 together and get 22.
You're just a sort of a lousy connivance.
What about Adams? Is he the turkey that knocked off Van Dyke?
He got away when I started to dial the phone to call the wagon. I thought I told you to forget the Van Dyke murder.
You're full of tell, Hellman. Is Adams the one?
Pin this into your hat, Novak. I'm closing in on the one who did it, and I don't need you to help with the net.
Like you closed in on Adams?
Just let me stumble over you once more before I close this up, and I'll bet my badge I'll put you where you'll stand still.
And it could be Adams.
You hear what I said?
Yeah. I heard prices are going down, too, but I haven't noticed it much.
I can fix that. You're going to a place where the feed is on the house.
Don't give me any more of that jail talk, Hellman, until you're ready to come in with some papers.
All I need to put you in a cage is a key. Let's go. I'll get him. You stay where you are, Novak.
He must think I'm a Boy Scout. That was screwy. That was twice Hellman had tried to jail me, and twice someone had fixed a breakaway. Any way you looked at that, it still meant somebody wanted me in circulation for some reason. Unless you believed in good fairies, the reason wouldn't be nice. If I guessed hard, I could make it relate somehow to the Van Dyke killing. But all I had for a trail on that was 3 people being nervous in a hard-to-get mystery book. And from the way Adams saved me from Hellman, he looked like a good man to know more about, and fast. I knew that after the gun work in the hotel, I'd have to find him somewhere else. The only other lead I had on him was through Dodo. I headed back to her place on Vallejo Street. When she opened the door, she looked like something to fit in a fireplace ad. She was wearing a negligee thin enough to roll up and stuff in a pipe.
You bounced back fast.
You grow on me.
What do you want?
Van Dyke's murderer.
Who's Van Dyke?
You're a stranger in town. You never heard of him.
Come on in. I'm having coffee. Think you can risk drinking some with arsenic and all?
I got a strong stomach.
Oh, nice-looking guy. You seem healthy. Why do you want to change?
Your boy Adams likes to play tricks. If I didn't try to pay him off for the hot foot he gave me, he might feel neglected.
Adams is just a flock of nerves looking for some place to break down. Forget him.
He tried to put me on a spot where I'd end up killing a cop. The gag laid an egg. Nobody's laughing.
Cream in your coffee?
Yeah. I'm still guessing why he did it unless he killed Van Dyke.
Sugar?
Look, he didn't just pick this house out of the phone book. That puts you in line to do some explaining.
I wouldn't explain how to turn over in bed until I've had a cup of coffee.
You aren't shaken where it shows.
Are you telling me how to live?
I'd have to start with the way you say goodbye on stairways. You didn't learn that trick in a finishing school.
It didn't finish you, but that's just because you're adorable.
So's my longing for Adams. Where can I find him?
I told you Adams don't mean anything. He just acts busy. He's like a fly, batting his wings off and ending up in the same place.
What place? Do I twist it out of you?
That book, Death in Herald Square. Did you find another copy?
That's for tomorrow. Tonight it's Adams.
You're wasting your time chasing Adams. Concentrate on the book.
I'm spreading my fire. How do I know that book isn't just a come-on to get me off the trail?
In the book, there was a millionaire businessman just like Van Dyke. He had connections in the rackets, just like Van Dyke. He had a partner, just like Van Dyke.
When do I start panting?
If you do, it'll be from running from the cops. That's all I'm giving you about the book.
I'll get the rest when I pick one up tomorrow.
You'll have a tough time doing that, Novak. The bookstores are all out of copies.
You collected them all?
It wasn't hard. A car, a telephone, little bustling about.
You're real sharp, Crowley, till you start looking at a map.
I have friends across the bay. You might try Sacramento or Los Angeles, but that would take some time, wouldn't it?
I guess time don't count after tomorrow.
Not with what you know, sonny boy. Am I being confusing?
You make a good try.
Well, this won't confuse you. I thought I told you I didn't like Dodo to be bothered.
She needs protection like J. Edgar Hoover.
And didn't I warn you off this caper?
Leave him alone, Crowley. He's harmless. Are you all done in the other room?
Yeah.
Come on, Novak. I want to make you a little present. There are the books you've been looking for, with only a few pages missing.
Yeah, Novak, you can have them. All 50 of them.
They're a little scarred, baby, but they'd still make a nice gift. Send them to your friends for Christmas.
If any of them can read.
You sound like you're ringing down a curtain.
That's right. After tonight, you just keep right on guessing.
About who killed Van Dyke?
No, baby. About how you're going to prove anything.
Mind if we sort of run along now? As soon as the lady gets dressed?
After they'd gone, I went through the books. Page 187 was torn out of each one of them. I felt like a man in an earthquake. Something told me to run, but I didn't know where to go. Trying to make sense out of what I knew was like trying to put together a dropped cake. I wandered around the place till I found a drink. I was just lifting the glass when the telephone rang. Yeah?
Who's ahead, you or the moral squad?
Everybody's out in front of me, including Dodo and Crowley. Adams is out of sight.
You aren't alone.
Dodo and Crowley just went out the door. I said goodbye to them and $10,000.
Was Crowley that big, or was it the girl?
Crowley isn't worried, neither is Dodo.
That leaves Adams. Oh, I ran down that book of yours.
Crowley said he bought every copy in town.
Every copy in the bookstores. My friend remembered where he'd sold one. My friend with the still. We borrowed it. Oh, by the way, Van Dyke wrote the book.
Yeah? What's on page 187?
Let's see now. Yes, a description of Van Dyke's double life on page 187 is a description of the front man, the gangster. A bad writing job. No wonder it didn't sell.
Who does it fit?
It doesn't fit anyone, Patsy. He only said that the person had a star tattooed on his chest.
It's a horse.
Now all you've got to do is to get them in a game of strip poker.
Get them. They're all gone.
It's still a good idea, especially if Dodo sat in. So long, lover.
Give me Hellman.
Inspector Hellman speaking.
I got your killer for you.
What's that? Who's this? Novak?
Yeah. And don't start bubbling about my nose in your business.
Business is picking up.
You get Adams?
Adams? That's good. No, Novak. My stool pigeon got it. That bag I was telling you about.
That leaves you the only one knowing.
$10,000 worth. Don't think I'm coming after you, baby. You can stay there and rot.
So far, I feel healthy.
You think you can drag me off the trail after you by this phony phone call?
I know who did it.
Oh, no, you don't, Novak, but I do.
Yeah, fill it in.
I just got a phone tip where they're hanging out.
So they're sending out invitations.
I'll even tell you where they are. It's at the beach near a shooting gallery. I've got a siren on my car. Let's see you beat me out there. It's the first gallery below the ballroom.
Look, Hellman, you're the only guy alive who knows the whole story. What if this is a gag?
Oh, no, Novak. I'm not biting on any of your phony tricks.
But listen.
Save your breath to sob with when you see me pick up that nice fat check.
I thought a while, and suddenly the thing fell together like a winning poker hand. As soon as I saw it, I started running for my car. I don't know how it happened, but I beat him out there. I went along the bridge arterials. And they're widening fast. By stealing a flock of red lights and nicking the paint off a couple of fenders, I was out through the Presidio and over to Golden Gate Park in no time at all. When I hit the beach, it was foggy and empty. There was only one guy in the shooting gallery. When I got up near him, it turned out to be Crowley. He had a rifle in his hand. And he saw me first, down the barrel of the gun.
Don't back up, Novak. Come on in. You were looking for Adams, weren't you?
I was looking for a lot of things.
He's here behind the counter. Look, on the floor.
Did you kill him? Those bullet holes could be 22s.
Yeah, I killed him. Just as I'll kill you if you got any fancy ideas like trying to grab a gun.
What are you saving me for, Christmas?
Yeah, you dress up the joint. I want Hellman to walk into the trap just like you did. That's why I'm shooting at the targets. Like this. Bullseye. I'm good.
You'll have to be good to get away with killing a cop.
I hired Adams to do it. He thought he'd get smart and frame you into the rap. That's why he hired you.
Did he expect me to kill Hellman that night?
Well, that's one of his bright ideas. He's full of bright ideas. Or he was. If he hadn't been so smart, he'd still be breeding. It's really very simple. Hellman got on the trail. And he was the only one in town who knew there was a trail, so he had to be killed.
He ain't dead yet. You're betting a 22 against a police special.
I'm live bait. You ought to see the gun Dodo has in the car.
You're gonna dry gulch him, huh?
He'll be watching me, and I'll be watching you. Let's see you beat that hand.
You're forgetting the books.
We're forgetting nothing. The books don't mean anything unless you put it together with what Hellman knows. Hellman and his stool pigeon. Stool's dead. And here comes Hellman. Adams thought of everything, including mirrors.
You thought of everything. Except a quarter.
What for?
To pay for the reload on that gun. Now, if these other guns are only loaded... Hi, you win a cigar, Hellman. You got her.
She'd have had me if you didn't spray the windshield. What was the deal?
While you were creeping up on Crowley, Dodo was going to pat you on the back.
Crowley? Where's Adams?
He quit the game. Crowley helped him.
Come on. Crowley's coming through.
Don't worry. He won't like these odds.
What odds?
38 to 22. It wasn't much of a trial. Crowley got the gas chamber. I got $10,000. The tax collector took half. Jocko got some, and there was even some left for me. Oh, yeah, Dodo was the one who killed Van Dyke. She and Crowley were sort of a team, but she was the contact and the real boss. Hellman never knew how I was so sure. I never told him I thought it was a man, too, till Jocko told me about the killer being tattooed. After that, it was easy. That negligee of Dodo's only left one thing to wonder about. That was how she kept warm.
And now, an important announcement for your listening pleasure. Next week, Pat Novak For Hire and all your KGO programs will come to you by the new power of 50,000 watts. Here's what that means for this program, for instance. Pat Novak will reach 1 million new listeners all the way from the state of Washington to the Mexican border. The new power and the new transmitter, the finest science can build or money can buy, will make KGO the most powerful station on the West Coast. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, we suggest that you pay particular attention to an important announcement, which will be given at the end of tonight's program.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Personnel Division. A resident of your city files a report of robbery and assault. The suspect, a rookie police officer. Your job, arrest him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, transcribed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 9th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of personnel. My partner's Ben Romero, the boss is Deputy Chief Holman, Commander BIA. My name's Friday. We're on the way over from the City Hall, and it was 5:25 p.m. when we got to Central Division. The assembly room.
How's the wife?
See him, Joe? Yeah, it looks like him over there.
I'll let you know.
Hi. You Russell Clark?
Yeah, that's right.
Friday and Romero personnel.
All right.
Lieutenant Drummond over at BIA would like to talk to you.
All right. When do you want to see me?
Right now.
Okay. We're looking for Captain. Okay, let's go. What do they want to see me about, you know?
Drummond will tell you.
Okay.
How long you been on the job, Clark?
About 2.5 months.
How do you like it?
Oh, I like it fine. Wife doesn't think much of it. She wanted me to stay at my old job.
What was that?
Selling insurance. Likes to have me home nights. Doesn't like to be alone, especially now.
Yeah?
She's expecting me in a couple of months. You know how that yet.
Yeah. Let's cross here.
Hey, I put in a request for day work. Do you think that's why personnel wants to see me?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Boy, I'd sure like to get that day watch.
Yeah.
Is that the way you fellas started?
I did, yeah. You started in traffic, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah, Had 9 months of it. Go ahead, Clark.
No, thanks. I have to be on the job at 6. Think this going to take very long?
I don't know.
Hi, Friday.
Hi.
Right in. Lieutenant's waiting.
Personnel, Coleman.
Lieutenant?
Yeah, come here.
This is Officer Clark, Lieutenant Drummond.
How do you do, sir?
Oh, hey, Clark. Sit down.
Thanks.
Couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir?
You were on special duty at the Olympic Auditorium last night, is that right?
Yes, sir, for the fights.
Anything unusual happen out there last night?
Well, it wasn't very important, Lieutenant. After the fights, the drunk fell down the stairs. On the way out of the auditorium, broke his arm. I took him to Georgia Street, and they took care of the arm, and I drove him home. He was pretty drunk.
Why didn't you book the man?
I didn't think it was necessary.
How long you been with the department, Clark?
2.5 months, sir.
Didn't you know he should have been booked for violation of 4127 ALAMC?
Well, the man was in pretty bad shape, Lieutenant. Broken arm. I guess I didn't think the law was that strict.
Law's there for a purpose. You decided to forget it, now you're in a mess, right up to your neck.
I don't understand.
You remember the name of that drunk you took care of last night?
Yes, sir. His name was Stacy. Lives out in West L.A. What's the matter, Lieutenant?
That drunk, Mr. Stacy, wants to file a complaint against you.
What for?
He claims you took him back to the auditorium, beat him up, broke his arm, and robbed him of $128.
Oh, he's crazy. He's lying. I didn't do that.
Got his word against yours, Clark. Facts seem to favor him.
But I can prove it. Well, there was at least a couple of dozen people around it. There was a doctor. He can tell you.
Maybe you better take it from the beginning, Clark. Exactly how did it happen?
It was right after the fights. I was on duty in the lobby, and I saw a bunch of people crowding around the foot of the stairs.
Yeah?
I went over to see what the trouble was, and they were looking at this man lying on the pavement. It was Stacy. A doctor was examining him.
This doctor, did he identify himself?
Yeah. I asked for his identification. He showed it to me. Gave me a card. He's a doctor, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he told me that he'd seen Stacy fall down the stairs coming out of the auditorium. Said that Stacy had broken his left arm.
What'd you do then?
Well, the doc said it'd be okay to move him, so I helped him into my car and took him down to Georgia Street. He was so drunk he could hardly stand up. The attendants at Georgia Street took care of his arm. Well, they can tell you all about this.
Maybe, but they can't help you out as witnesses. You could have beaten up Stacy, robbed him, then taken him to Georgia Street.
But I didn't, Lieutenant. I tell you that Stacy's lying.
What'd you do when you left Georgia Street?
Well, I drove into Central and told them what happened. I told the watch commander I was going to drive this Stacy home, and he warned me about it. Guess I should have known better, but... Well, I swear to you that Stacy's lying.
You should have known better. Where'd you go after you left Central?
Well, I drove him home. On the way, he said he was hungry, so I stopped. I bought him a sandwich and some black coffee. Kept telling me what a nag his wife was. Said he was afraid to go home.
Go on.
Well, when I got him to his place, his wife started chewing me out. I just said goodnight and left.
That's it, huh?
That's it. So help me, that's exactly what happened.
Now, how about the doctor at the auditorium, the one who saw Stacy fall? Did you get his name and address?
Well, no, Lieutenant, I didn't. I didn't think it was necessary.
How about the crowd that was standing around? Did you spot anybody you know?
No, I didn't. Just a bunch of people coming out of the fights.
Then you haven't got anyone to corroborate your story.
But all those people saw it. There must have been a couple of dozen of them.
What are their names?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I didn't beat him up and I didn't take his money. I tell you, the Stacy's lying.
You could be lying. We got no proof either way.
I'm not lying, Lieutenant. I didn't do it.
We might believe you, Clark. That doesn't make any difference. If this man files a 211 against you, it's got to be settled in court.
But I didn't do it. I tell you, I swear I didn't.
Just a minute. Mike, send in Mr. and Mrs. Stacy, will you? You can hear the story the way we get it from Stacy and his wife.
I'd like to hear it. I don't know why he's doing this to me. I helped him all I could.
Look, Jerry, there he is. That's the one.
Yeah, that's him, Chief.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Stacy. What's this all about?
Hold it, Clark. Mr. Stacy, would you repeat the same story you told us this morning, please?
You know what I told you, Chief. You had the stenographer take it all down. It's the same thing.
I'd like to have you repeat it in front of Officer Clark here. He's entitled to know what you're charging him with.
A man like that's entitled to nothing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Look, lady, your husband's lying.
Don't call my husband a liar. You're not a policeman. You're a hoodlum.
All right, wait a minute.
I'd like to know what this city's coming to. Cops going around beating up private citizens. Who do we trust if we can't trust a policeman?
Just a minute, please.
You don't know, Captain. You should have seen my husband when that officer brought him home last night. Arm all bandaged, his face all cut up. He was hurt so bad he could hardly stand up.
He was too drunk to stand up, lady.
Don't you get fresh with me.
All right, that's enough.
This cop got hold of me as I was coming out of the fights. Took me in back of the auditorium. Told me if I didn't hand over my wallet, he'd book me on a drunk charge.
Were you drunk, Stacy?
I was not. Had a couple of beers, that's all. When I wouldn't give him my money, he beat me up. Broke my arm and took my wallet.
How do men like you ever get on the police force?
He figured he'd cover up, so he took me and had my arm fixed at the emergency hospital. Then he drove me home. Threatened me all the way. He said, you tell anybody about this and I'll get you. That's just what he said.
I don't get it, Stacy. You know that story's a pack of lies. Why are you doing this to me?
It's the truth. And I'm going to press charges and get my money back.
$128. What have you done with it?
We can take care of the questioning, Mrs. Stacy.
I don't see you doing it. Make him tell. Where's our money?
I haven't got it.
Don't talk back to me.
Mr. Stacy, you and your wife want to file a crime report at this time.
We want to press charges.
Romero?
Yeah?
Take Mr. and Mrs. Stacy down to Record Bureau, have them make out a report for 211 and assault.
Right.
Get them this way, please.
Now listen. We're going to get action if we have to take this to the district attorney. We're not afraid of the publicity. We'll go to the newspaper if we don't get action.
Yes, ma'am.
What's it, Clark?
They're lying. I can't prove it, but they're lying.
Well, you can see the position it puts us in. If you're innocent, we'll do all we can. If you're guilty, we'll see you get everything that's coming to you.
But they're lying. You know that.
It's not up to us. The court's going to have to decide.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, there's no other way, Clark. We got 4,500 men in the department. We don't claim they're all saints. Once in a while, a bad cop comes along and pulls a caper, and all of us get a black eye. This book of rules is the only protection we got against that. By failing to enforce the law, you violated your duty as a police officer. Got yourself in a real mess, Clark. Like anybody else, you get a fair trial.
That mean I'm dropped from the force?
And those people have filed a crime report. Draw suspension pending the outcome of the case. After that, if you're cleared, there'll be a hearing before the Board of Rights.
Right through right now?
You'll be booked for robbery and assault and held in county jail. Case will be presented to the district attorney tomorrow.
What can I do?
I'll have to have your badge. On the desk. Your gun? ID card?
Yeah.
On the desk.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, that's it.
Okay.
Take him.
6 p.m. Ben returned to the office, and together we took Rookie Police Officer Russell Clark across the street to the Hall of Justice. At the county jail booking desk on the 12th floor, he was booked on suspicion of 211 PC and assault with intent to do great bodily harm. He was lodged in the cell block. Investigating charges against a police officer involves exactly the same procedure as cases where private citizens are concerned. Prove the suspect innocent or guilty. That's the job. If Clark was innocent, it looked like there was only one way of proving it. That was somehow to find the unnamed doctor who was supposed to have seen Stacy fall down the auditorium stairs and then examined him afterward. If Clark was guilty, we had to find proof that his story about Stacy falling downstairs was a lie. Besides that, we had to find evidence that he beat up Stacy at the rear of the auditorium that night and that he robbed him of $128. Thursday, April 10th, Ben and I checked in for work at 7:45 a.m. and found a message from the jailer on the phone board. Clark wanted to see us right away. We met with him in the county jail interview room.
How you doing? Not too bad.
Don't let it sour you, huh?
Sergeant, you really think I rolled that character? Come on, tell me the truth.
We checked you out. Good family. You got a fine Army record. No, we don't think you did it.
I just can't understand why he picked me out. I tried to help him all I could. Then he walks in the next day with a frame story like that.
You got any idea why Stacy would pull something like this on you?
I don't know. I'm worried, Sergeant. Believe me, I can't afford to sit here missing my pay. We live pretty close to the budget with a baby coming. I'm worried about the wife. I just don't know what to do.
Are you sure you told us everything about this that you remember?
Well, that's the one reason I wanted to see you. I didn't sleep much last night. I kept trying to remember the name of that doctor.
Yeah?
Well, I remember once he did mention his name, and then when I asked for his identification, he showed me one of his cards.
Any idea what his name was?
Well, I'm not sure, but as I remembered, it was some kind of a Swedish or Norwegian name, something like Johnson, Tollefson, something with a son on the end of it. It's on that card.
That doesn't narrow it down too much. Where is the card?
Well, I think I put his card in one of the pockets of my other uniform shirt. That's why I called you. I wonder if you could check that for me. It's at home.
Sure. Where do you live?
Out on Norwich Road, 411. It's right near the Coliseum.
411.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it out for you.
Just ask the wife, will you? Card should be in one of the pockets.
Yeah, if you put it there. Ben and I left the interview room at the county jail and drove out to the home of Officer Clark on Norwich Road. We introduced ourselves to his wife and told her what we were after. Her eyes were red and looked like she'd been crying. She asked about her husband. We told her he was all right.
They're making a terrible mistake, Sergeant. Russ never did anything crooked in his life. He didn't do it. I know he didn't.
We'll do everything we can to straighten it out, Mrs. Clark. The court will have the final say.
I knew Russ shouldn't have left his insurance job. I just knew it, all this trouble.
How about that shirt that your husband told us about, the one he wore that night at the auditorium?
Oh, yes, his other uniform shirt.
Mm-hmm. Can we see it, please?
Oh, yes, certainly. It's right this way, back in bed. What's so important about the shirt, Sergeant?
Your husband told us that there might be a card in one of the pockets. Might help clear up things.
Well, it should be hanging up here in the closet. I always like to keep Russ's shirts on hangers. He keeps them much nicer looking.
What's the matter?
This morning I sent it to the cleaners.
Clark's wife, Ben, and I drove down to a dry cleaning shop a few blocks away where Mrs. Clark had left the shirt. The counter girl there told us that the truck had already been by that morning and picked up the day's cleaning. It was a store rule to check all garments for contents. She had found nothing. We got the address of the main plant, the Great Northern Dry Cleaners, a place down on Factory Street. 10:15 a.m. We checked in at the main plant and explained to the manager what we were after. We gave him the tag number of her cleaning, and Mrs. Clark gave him the description of the shirt. We waited in the manager's office while he made a search for the dark blue wool police shirt.
How about this one, lady? It's the only blue wool shirt picked up at your cleaners this morning.
Yes, that's Russ's shirt. That pocket's out there. I mended it.
I'll check the pockets for you. I had to pull it out of the tank. It's all wet.
Anything?
Not in this pocket. Try the other one.
Yeah?
Look for yourself.
Nothing.
are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madsen. This is her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer the new king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Thursday, April 10th. Shortly after noon, the daily newspapers were on the streets, and the head on one of the top front page stories read, "Rookie cop slugs robbed citizen." Ben and I went back to the county jail and told Clark that we'd failed to find the card. He could give us no other lead that might help in clearing the case. During the next 2 days that followed, Ben and I ran down every possible lead, no matter how remote it was. We made a thorough check on Mr. and Mrs. Stacy. We double-checked back on Clark's record. For one full day, we did nothing but phone doctors in and around the city of Los Angeles. From a list of hundreds, we came across 3 doctors who had been present at the fights in Olympic Auditorium on the night Stacy claimed he was beaten up and robbed by Officer Clark. None of the 3 had seen a man tumble down the stairway leading from the balcony to the lobby. None of them had seen any accident or had been called on to help anyone professionally. Monday, April 14th, we met with Lieutenant Ralph Drummond.
No go, huh? That's got us, Ralph. We can't figure it. It's almost a fact Stacy's lying.
Clark, what about him?
Well, there's still nothing to show that he didn't do it. He had the opportunity. Maybe he had a motive. He needs money, you know.
Who doesn't?
How much you get on Stacy?
He and his wife run a second-hand furniture store in South Flower. It's a small business. Stacy's quite a gambler. He bets on the fights.
Yeah?
We checked around with some of the gang down at the auditorium. Stacy's well-known down there. He laid some pretty heavy bets the night he claims Clark rolled him.
How much?
You got the dope there, Ben. How's it figure out?
He lost over $75 in small amounts. Add to that the fact that he was doing some partying. That might account for the 120 acres missing.
Stacy blew the roll, was afraid to tell his wife, so he cooked up the story against Clark.
Yeah, sure. Maybe that could have been the way it happened.
What do you got on the other side?
Not much, Ralph. Couldn't dig up anything against Clark. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type to pull something like that.
Maybe not. You still can't prove he didn't do it. How about the papers? You've been plugging for witnesses?
Yeah. Here's the ad. Had it running in personals for 4 days now.
Thanks. All those saw a man fall down the stairway in the auditorium. Today, police call Michigan 5211-75. No results, huh?
No. All the possible doctors in town have been checked out, too.
How about the local medical magazines?
Got an ad in there, Ralph. Nothing's happened.
Well, one thing is sure. Something's got to happen. Newspapers are scorching the kid and the department along with him. Victim without a trial makes good reading in the tabloids.
There's one thing I can't understand. If Clark's leveling and there was a doctor at the fights that might have looked at Stacy, then where's the doctor? We've had this thing noised all around town.
Well, give it a little more time. He might turn up. I kind of like the Stacy angle.
How do you mean?
Well, suppose we get him in here. Think we could break him down into questioning?
Oh, no, I doubt that. We can't even get close to him. That wife of his and that lawyer, they're with him all the time. He's afraid to talk to us.
Maybe if we pass the word to his wife he'd been gambling, how far can we go on that?
Well, she might believe us, she might not. You've seen what she's like.
Yeah. I got an idea he sold her on his story, and she's tagging along to get the $128 back.
It gives me an idea, Joe. One thing we might have missed.
Yeah, what's that?
We found out that Stacy did a little partying before he went to the fights at the auditorium that night, didn't we?
Yeah, go ahead.
We checked out a couple of the bars he was drinking at, but we figure he must have parted away at least 50 out of that $128.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't spend that much at the bars.
Oh, well, sure. He probably hit a few other places, too.
That's what I mean. That's still a lot of money to drink up alone.
You figure a woman?
Maybe.
You got any reason to think Stacy plays around?
Just one.
Yeah?
His wife.
Monday, 1 p.m. Ben and I started to canvass of bars and small nightclubs in the general area around the Olympic Auditorium. We started with those where Stacy was a regular customer. We failed to turn up any leads. Either the bartenders refused to tell us or they had no knowledge of Stacy's running around with other women. We kept at it. Another day passed. 2 days. Nothing. One of the newspapers started a campaign against the brutality of police officers. On Thursday, we got a tip from a bartender at a place out on Washington Street, the Brown Cow. He told us that he thought he saw a man answering Stacy's description in his bar a few nights before with a flashy blonde in her late 20s. He said he didn't know Stacy too well, but he knew the girl, and he knew the hotel where she stayed. Her name was Sandra Gay, an acrobatic specialty dancer at the cheap nightclub. We checked out her hotel, but she wasn't in. We left word for her to get in touch with us, and then we picked up a hamburger and some potato salad for lunch and checked back in at the office.
How you doing, Coleman?
Not as good as you two.
How do you mean?
Can't you smell the perfume? It's off a blonde named Sandra Gay. She's waiting in the next room. Won't talk to anybody but you.
Thanks. Come on, Ben. Didn't waste much time, did she?
Perfume. Sure strong.
Your name, Sandra Gay?
Yeah, that's right. You the fellas been looking for me?
Drop by your hotel. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sure, it's all right.
This is my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
How you doing?
Oh, Romero. Kind of cute for a cop. What can I help you with?
Do you know anybody by the name of Gerald Stacy, Miss Gay?
Gerald, yeah, I hate that name.
Do you know any man who calls himself that?
No, I think that's a terrible name for a man, Gerald.
The man we have in mind is pretty short, stocky build, dark hair, and he wears steel-rimmed glasses.
Yeah, where's he hang out?
Place out in Washington, the Brown Cow. Supposed to have been seen with you. Gerald Stacy.
Oh, yeah, I think I know who you mean. Furniture business. He runs a place near the Brown Cow.
That's right, you know him?
Old Pop, sure I know him. We get together once in a while. He's a kick.
Pretty big spender?
Oh, he's got it, yeah. Last time we went out, he was fine. He can kick it around when he wants to. Old Pop.
When's the last time you were out with him, Miss Gay?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks ago. The Tuesday night, I think, yeah.
Tuesday the 8th? Is that about right?
Yeah, must have been. Why, what's it all about?
Did you spend most of the evening with him?
No, I had to get back to the club, do my act. He went under the fights over at Olympic.
I get it. Personnel, Friday.
Is this Sergeant Friday?
Yes, that's right.
This is Dr. Samuelson talking, Sergeant. I've been out of town. I just got back this morning. I saw the ad in the paper.
Yes, sir?
I was at the fights that night, Sergeant. What else do you want to know?
Would you mind telling us, Doctor, did you see a man fall down one of the stairways to the lobby?
Certainly. I was the one who examined him.
5 p.m. Mr. and Mrs. Stacy were called to Lieutenant Drummond's office. Arrangements were made to have Officer Russell Clark brought over from his cell in county jail. At 5:15, Ben and I checked into the lieutenant's office. Stacy and his wife were already there.
Certainly proud of our police department, Chief. No whitewashing this time. You gave that fella exactly what he had coming.
Thanks. You sure you didn't make a mistake?
I'm sure, Chief. That's the right man. You got him.
Jerry, don't make mistakes on things like this, Inspector. How about our money, the $128? He tell you where he hid it?
No, he hasn't. We'll bring Officer Clark in from county jail. Figure we try to crack him.
That's right. Make him tell what he did with our money.
Joe, will you have Officer Clark brought in?
By the way.
All right.
There he is. Where's our money? What have you done with it?
Just a minute, please. Stacy, you sure Officer Clark here's the man who beat you up and robbed you?
Of course he is. Dragged me behind the auditorium and almost beat me to death. Broke my arm, took all my money.
$128. Where is it?
I haven't got your money.
Joe, bring the doctor in.
I understand. In here, Doctor.
All right. Mr. Stacy, you're a liar. This officer didn't break your arm. I saw you fall down a flight of stairs at that auditorium and break your own arm. I examined it.
Jerry, who is this man?
What about it, Stacy?
He doesn't know what he's talking about. I never saw him before in my life.
No, but I've seen you, Stacy. You were drunk. I saw you fall down those stairs.
You're crazy.
Joe, send Miss Gay in.
Right.
All right, Miss Gay.
Sure strong perfume.
You recognize any of these people, Miss Gay?
Hello, Pops.
I don't know you.
Don't you remember the perfume? You give it to me.
Who is this woman?
Just a friend, honey.
All right, Stacy, now let's have it straight.
It was all a mistake. I don't want to make trouble for anybody. It wasn't this cop's fault. I don't want to make any trouble.
What about this woman?
It was all a mistake, believe me.
You took that money, Gerald. You spent it on her.
Now, wait a minute.
Causing all this trouble, squandering our money. After all I did for you, you're no good. This time I'm through.
All right, Clark, let's go.
Okay.
Well, that's it.
I don't know how to thank you, fellas.
And Doctor's the best friend you got.
Yeah? Yeah, I better call her wife. She'll want to know.
Friday, phone message for you here.
Oh, thank you. From your wife, Clark.
Yeah?
She found that doctor's card.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 2nd, trial was held in Municipal Court, Division 7, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Gerald Stacy was tried on charges of filing a false crime report. He was convicted under Section 5250 LAMC and served his term as prescribed by law. Officer Russell Clark was returned to duty with full back pay.
Ladies and gentlemen, in response to thousands of letters asking us to broadcast Dragnet at an earlier hour so that the entire family might hear it, we wish to announce that summer scheduling enables us to fulfill these requests. Beginning next Thursday, June 8th, Fatima Cigarettes will bring you Dragnet 1/2 hour earlier over most of these stations. Consult your local newspaper for exact time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear your favorite Jack Birch tomorrow on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has been shot to death. The apparent motive, robbery. The killer's still at large. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, March 16th. It was damp in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 11:45 p.m. when we got to where we'd parked our car. 2nd and Main.
Couple of drops on the windshield.
Yeah, I hope it holds off.
I was thinking of going out to see the Cubs and Pirates play an exhibition game tomorrow. Guess maybe now I won't.
You might be lucky.
What's the weatherman say?
Get the radio on. It's a slow night.
Yeah.
Might not be tomorrow night.
What?
March 17th, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
62A, Collier Station. All units in vicinity of 102 South Virgil, 211 and shooting, code 3.
It's a hot one.
All units in vicinity
South
of 102
First
South Virgil, 211 and shooting, code 3. Unit 13, take the call.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. 11:58 p.m. We arrived at 102 South Virgil, the Bartlett Hotel, a 4-story building. Sergeant Scheimer met us in the lobby and informed us that the shooting took place at 11:40 p.m. in room 432, occupied by Mr. and Mrs. Theodore V. Benham. Mrs. Benham was the victim. We went up to the 4th floor where Officer McCready was stationed outside the room.
Any witnesses?
Only Benham says it was a thief.
You talking to the people on this floor?
None of them saw anything. They're all in their rooms.
Any other way out of here?
That stairway in the rear leads to the roof. I took a look. Nothing up there.
Mm-hmm. Where's Benham?
Across the hall, lying down. Cox is with him.
Okay, let's look at the body. We went into the room, a dreary place with a single light hanging from the center of the ceiling. The carpet was faded and worn in spots. On the north side were a closet and a bathroom. Against the east wall was a dresser. Across the room was a double bed, and at the foot of the bed, a window looking out over the roofs of adjoining buildings and the marquee of a movie house down the street. A steamer trunk was in the corner, and a straight-back chair was next to the door. The mirror of the dresser was smashed, and on the dresser, a Gideon Bible. On the bed was the body of a woman sprawled face down. There were several splotches of blood on her coat. In the chair was a .32-20 revolver, which McCready said belonged to Benham, the husband of the murdered woman. We asked McCready to put in a call to the crime lab, and we went across the hall to question Benham.
This is an awful shock. I'm not feeling well. I'm under doctor's care. Hemophilia. It's an awful shock.
Sit down, please.
Yes. I don't know what it'll do to me. I should be in a sanitarium right now.
We'll see you taken care of.
Lincoln Sanitarium in Eagle Rock.
Could you tell us what happened tonight?
Why, yes. My wife and I went out to the Sycamore Cafe over in Alvarado.
What time was that?
Oh, about 9:30. Had a couple of drinks and something to eat. Listened to a piano player, then came home. I unlocked the door, and Elizabeth went in first, went over to the dresser. I just walked over to her when a man stepped out of the closet in back of us. He had a gun.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe him?
I don't know.
Did you see his face?
No. He had a blue bandana over his face, and he had a cap on, a blue and white check.
Did you notice his clothes?
No, I didn't.
Anything else?
He seemed very nervous, and he wasn't holding the gun still. My wife was opening her purse, and I said, well, I haven't got very much, but I'll give you what we have. And he fired and hit Elizabeth. I pulled my gun from my overcoat and started shooting.
Are you in the habit of carrying a gun?
No. I'd noticed suspicious-looking men following me lately, so I bought one.
Is this the gun here?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Well, I fired all the bullets. I don't know how I missed. The room was small. He kept moving around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I did miss. Then he ran out of the room.
But how old would you say this man was?
Officer, I haven't the faintest idea.
See you a minute, Sergeant?
Sure.
We'll be back, Mr. Benham.
This has been an awful shock to me.
Wonder how his wife felt.
McCready told us that Sergeant Scheimer had found a woman in the Nevada Hotel next door who might know something. We went next door and questioned Mrs. Caroline Cromwell, a resident of the hotel. She occupied room 415 on the top floor. She told us that about 20 seconds after she heard the shots, she looked out the door of her room and saw a man come down the back stairs, which leads to the roof of the hotel, and enter room 402. She'd seen the man several times and was positive of her identification. Sergeant Scheimer said the man was registered as Jack Morrison. We went to room 402. Try it again.
Who's that? Police officer. What do you want?
I'd like to ask a couple of questions.
I was going to bed. We'd like to talk to you.
Won't take very long.
All right. What do you want to know?
How long you been in your room?
About 10 minutes. What? Where were you? To the movie. Which one? Right down the street. Why are you asking me all these questions?
You been drinking?
A little. Not much.
Mind if we look around a little?
I was out all the time. I didn't know nothing about a shooting. And you won't mind if we look around. You won't find nothing here. These all the clothes you got? Yeah. This your coat? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You wearing this tonight, were you?
No. It's the only coat in the closet. What'd you do with the coat you were wearing? Guess I was wearing that one.
Just spill it?
What?
A bottle of whiskey?
It broke.
How?
How do I know?
Got a hole here in the sleeve. What'd you do with the broken bottle?
Threw it away.
Where?
I don't know. On the street. Joe, I found something. A shirt. Stuck down between the wall and the bathtub. Looks like blood on it.
Is this yours? Where's the shirt you wore tonight? Take off your pajama top.
Why?
Take it off.
All right. But I didn't have nothing to do with that shooting next door. What happened to your arm? Guy shot at me.
Who?
I don't know. I bought a bottle and had a couple of drinks and went to the movie for a little while. Would you mind moving away from the bed, please? No. Thank you. I came out of the movie because I was getting dizzy. I went up on the roof here to get some air. While I was standing there, a guy ran across the roof and shot at me.
What'd the man look like?
I don't know. He came from the roof of the hotel next door and ran into this place.
How big was he?
It was dark. I couldn't see.
What'd you do?
Well, after I was sure he was gone, I came down. I was going to have my arm fixed in the morning.
Better get your clothes on.
Why?
Well, you got a pretty bad arm. You better have it fixed up. We'll take you to George Street Receiving Hospital.
It's all right. I don't have to go there.
Find anything, Ben?
No.
You got a clean shirt?
No.
Well, you better wear your pajama top then.
Oh, here's something. What did you say your name is? Jack Morris. Here's a card I found in the closet. It says, Tommy Kane, report for work, Joe's Cafe, 8 o'clock, March 1st.
Who's Tommy Kane?
That's me.
Where are you from?
Elgin, Illinois. How old are you? I'm 22.
Why'd you leave Elgin?
Work. I've been bumming around.
You ever been arrested?
I was picked up on a vague charge a month ago.
Here?
Yeah. I don't know why you guys are bothering with me.
When somebody gets shot, we bother. 1:30 a.m. We took King to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where they found that a muscle in his upper right arm had been severed and the right side of his chest was bruised. Before taking him to Ward 1300 General Hospital for further treatment, we took him back to the roof of the Nevada Hotel.
Still trying to rain.
Yeah. Well, where were you standing when you got shot at, King?
Right over there. I was leaning against the bricks. Where'd the man come from? Out of that door in the other roof. Roof of the Bartlett Hotel? Yeah.
Was he running when he shot at you?
Yeah, he was. Where'd he run? Right across here where we are. And then he went through this door here into the Nevada Hotel.
Did you notice anything unusual about him?
Well, his face was covered with a handkerchief, and he wore a checkered cap. Thought you said before it was too dark. Well, I could see that. I mean, I could see that. I couldn't see his face.
And you were standing over there by the parapet?
Yeah.
About here?
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get over the roof of the Bartlett. A little high. Can I help you over?
No.
Come on, Ben. You ever been in this hotel before, Kane?
No.
Everything all right, McCready?
Yeah. Crime lab's here, checking the murder room.
Benham awake?
I think so.
Mr. Benham?
Yes?
Mind if we come in?
Of course not.
You ever seen this man before?
Let me see. Can you stand over there in the light? My eyes aren't as good as they used to be.
Okay.
Move over there.
How's that?
That's better.
This the man who shot your wife?
No, that's not the man.
We left instructions for another car to take Theodore Benham to the Lincoln Sanitarium in Eagle Rock. We took Kane to Ward 1300 General Hospital. 2:42 a.m. We arrived back at the Bartlett Hotel where police chemist Ray Pinker had finished his examination. 3 slugs, .38 caliber, and 5 slugs, .32-20, were found in the mattress and the walls, all on the same side of the room. On the floor of the room were found a piece of white cloth and some brown threads. Ray Pinker returned to the crime lab while Ben and I made a search of both hotels, the incinerators, the alley, and all likely places for the missing .38. It was not found. 3:48 a.m. Ben went to the record bureau to check on any possible criminal record Kane might have had. I went to the crime lab to see what Ray Pinker had found.
Nothing on this one. It's been a clean miss. And nothing on these 4 32-20s.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you find those?
Dug the .38 out of the window frame. 32-20s are in the south and east walls.
How about the others here?
Well, on these 2 .38 slugs, I found minute portions of threads. They compare with the dress and coat worn of the deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hey, Ben.
I checked Kane's record. He told the truth.
Nothing more than a vague charge, huh?
How's this come?
There's threads on 2 of the .38 slugs.
And on one of the 32-20s.
Same kind of threads?
Yeah, the same kind.
32-20, that's the gun Benham used.
Yeah.
Did you check the cloth yet?
I will right now.
Benham must have been shooting an awful while.
Where'd you find that 32-20 slug, Ray?
On the floor near the bed.
Nothing on any of the other 32-20s.
No. Yeah, this piece of cloth matches the shirt.
How about the coat and those threads?
Got only a couple of threads that might match. Let me have the coat.
Yeah. We better have Benham take another look at Kane, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I could use a cup of coffee. How about you?
As soon as we get finished. How about it, Ray?
Gotta make it.
All right.
Yeah, a match.
Well, that's it, huh?
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah?
Fresh stains on the carpet of that room.
What kind?
Whiskey.
March 18th, we picked up Benham at Lincoln Sanitarium and drove him to the General Hospital. 3 times he asked us to stop someplace so he could have a drink. We told him he'd have to wait. We arrived at Ward 1300 at 1:40 p.m., and Kane was brought out.
Take a good look, Mr. Benham.
No, that isn't the man. I'm sure of it.
All right, Kane, tie this handkerchief over your face. No, this way. That's right. Now put on this cap. Okay, now stand over there, please. Now, a little further. That's good. All right, Mr. Benham?
You know, his eyes and forehead look a little familiar, but I don't know. Well, my nerves are all shot. I can't be positive. I'm a sick man.
All right, Kane.
Wish I could help you, boys.
So do we.
Come along, please.
You don't have to take me back to the sanitarium. Just take me to a streetcar. I'll make it all right.
We'll take you.
Sergeant,
Yeah,
can I see you a minute?
sure. Yeah?
Did you notice anything when you first brought Kane out of the ward?
No.
You must have been closing the door.
Yeah, I was.
And that man, Benham, he winked at him.
are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Dick Hyland, sports columnist for one of the great Los Angeles newspapers. This is his actual signed statement.
Do I smoke a lot when I'm reporting a close ball game? You bet I do. Do I still enjoy smoking when the game's over? Right again. Because I smoke a mild cigarette, Fatima. No other king-size cigarette tastes so good, is as mild as Fatima. I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
We took Benham back to his sanitarium. On the way, he asked if he could be excused from testifying at the inquest and preliminary hearing. We told him it couldn't be done. 7 p.m., Ben and I returned to the general hospital and took Kane into a small room adjoining a prison ward. After 3 hours of interrogation, he stuck to his story.
Cigarette, Kane?
Thanks.
How's the arm?
All right. Hurts a little now. When you guys going home?
When we get a straight story.
I've been telling you all I know.
Yeah, you've been telling us the same story for 2 days, but it doesn't hold water.
What do you mean?
How do you account for the fact that parts of your clothing were found in that room?
I told you before. You must have made a mistake.
No, it's no mistake.
Mr. Benham's starting to think he recognizes you.
What?
Why'd he wink at you?
He didn't wink at me.
We got somebody here who saw him.
And he seems to think whoever did the shooting didn't take the gun with him.
When we drove him back to the sanitarium, he asked us if we found it yet.
He thinks we will.
How long has Benham lived in L.A.?
A long time.
How long?
Why do you want to know how long he's lived here?
Is the dead woman really his wife?
Well, certainly she's his wife.
Why?
Where's he been since the shooting?
In the sanitarium in Eagle Rock.
What's the matter with him?
Hemophilia.
You know what that is?
No. You sure that was his wife?
Positive.
She wasn't a stool pigeon?
Stool pigeon? Where'd you get that idea?
You guys never saw her before?
Never.
You never heard of her?
Kane, what's eating you?
Did you check on her?
We always do.
You don't make mistakes on anything like that, do you?
No.
Look, she was a pretty nice woman from all we could find out.
Happily married for 30 years.
Something's wrong.
What, Kane? What's wrong?
Hold that up.
Yeah?
Yeah. What'd Benham say about me?
We told you. He says you look a little bit like the man.
Did you say anything else?
He winked at you, Kane. Why?
She wasn't a bad-looking woman.
Wasn't she, Kane? All right, now how about it?
You guys swear that was his wife?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you where the 38 is.
Where?
The mattress on the roof of the Nevada Hotel. Benham cut a hole in it that day. He told me to hide the gun there after the shooting.
All right, let's have a look.
I don't want anybody to know I'm telling you this.
Why?
Benham's a real smart guy. He's got a gang. He's in on it as much as I am.
Yeah?
He double-crossed me. He tried to kill me. I'm going to jail. He's going with me.
Maybe he will. Kane told us that he had known Benham for about 2 months. During that time, Benham helped him along by giving him a couple of dollars every once in a while. On March 11th, Benham got Kane a room in the Nevada Hotel and gave him $20 to buy a gun, which Kane did. On March 15th, he gave Kane a blue bandana and a checkered cap. On March 16th, he told Kane that he'd been sent by a gang in Chicago to kill a woman who was a stool pigeon. He promised Kane $100 for his help. Early that evening, Benham told Kane how to enter their room and where to hide. When they came home, Benham stood by the door. Kane stepped out of the closet and, after a few words, shot the woman. As he moved toward the bed, Benham started shooting at him. Kane ran from the room and hid the gun in the mattress on the roof, then went to his room and flushed the cap and bandana down the drain. 11:15 p.m., Ben and I found the gun where Kane said it would be. 38 Special Detective Colt revolver, 2-inch barrel, number 381327. 11:52 p.m., we checked and found no evidence that Benham belonged to any kind of a gang. March 19th, 9 a.m. Ben and I reported in the homicide and picked up Captain Steed. We went over to Dr. Wagner to learn his autopsy report. It showed that the deceased had been shot 3 times. 2 .38 slugs and 1 .32-20 were recovered from the victim's body. They were initialed for evidence. 8 p.m. Captain Steed, Ben, and I went to the sanitarium and told Benham that there were a few angles we wanted to clear up before the inquest next morning. Benham got dressed, and we drove back to the Bartlett Hotel. It was raining.
I'm still trying to remember what happened. I was very shocked that night.
Yeah, I suppose you were.
Well, sometimes my memory comes back for a little bit.
The red light? Yeah, I see.
You know, the man who did the shooting knew you lived in room 432, and he knew you'd be gone that night. How do you suppose he figured that out?
Well, I've been noticing that a lot of men have been following me. Suspicious-looking men. I told that to Sergeant Friday, didn't I, Sergeant?
Yeah, that's right.
Must be one of them.
You ever give money to characters on the street so much they might follow you?
Hey, that must be it. Many times I used to do that. I'd be nice to them, and they'd try to make friends.
You remember any of them?
Yeah, I do. There was old man Dorsey, Jolly Swanson, and a fellow named Lane.
Kane?
Yeah, that's it, Kane. There you are. The young man you took me to see in the hospital. I'm thinking, I believe that's Kane.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. He's the burglar.
What makes you think he was a burglar?
Well, what else would he be?
He didn't rifle any of the drawers or steal anything, did he?
Must have got there just before us.
Did you have anything important there?
Yes, some insurance policies.
And your wife?
Yeah.
How much?
Well, one policy for $4,000 and 2 for $2,500 each.
Who's the beneficiary?
I am.
We took Benham up to room 432, where he got out the insurance policies on his wife and showed them to us. Then Captain Steed asked him to reenact the shooting. Benham acted as the killer, I played Benham, and Ben acted as his wife.
Well, the man was over here in the closet. My wife and I came in that door, and then my wife went over to the dresser.
Oh, over here? Did you turn on the light?
Oh, yeah, and then I closed the door and went over behind her.
Like this?
Oh, she was closer to the bed.
Here?
Yeah.
Were you standing next to her?
Yeah.
You start to take off your coat?
Well, I was just going to when this man stepped out of this closet here.
How far?
Oh, here. Yeah, right here.
And then what?
Well, he held the gun in his hand and asked how much money we had. Elizabeth said we didn't have much.
From here?
Yeah, but she turned around.
Like this?
Yeah, that's it.
What happened then?
Well, then I said I haven't got very much, but I'll give you what we have, and started shooting.
Yeah, but you said before that your wife started looking in her purse.
Yeah, that's it. She did. I forgot. And that made him think she was going after a gun.
How do you know?
Well, I suppose that's what he thought. He shot, and Elizabeth fell on the bed. I pulled out my gun and started shooting, and the man ran out the door, and that's all.
That's exactly what happened, huh?
Just as I remember it. Will it help you?
Not very much.
What's the matter?
Well, if you were standing where I am, there'd be bullet holes on that side of the room there, wouldn't it?
They're all on this side.
I see. I got it. Come with me.
Where are you going?
On the roof.
What for?
I want to show you something. It's raining. There are 2 umbrellas in the closet. I'll get them.
Why do you want to go up there?
I think I know where that gun might be hidden. I'll bet it's there. Here, you take this umbrella.
Thanks.
We'll take this one, Captain.
Let's go.
I'll bet it's up there. We'll find it.
You got your flashlight, Ben?
Yeah.
Should be around here somewhere.
What?
The mattress. My wife used to take sun baths on it.
Where would it be?
Well, just about here.
I don't see any. Sure it's up here?
I bet it's on the next roof. Didn't you say Kane lived in that hotel? He probably moved it. Flash your light over there behind that elevator shaft.
There?
Yeah, there. You see it? We have to climb over this parapet to get on the other roof.
Watch it, Cap. It's pretty slippery.
Okay. Yeah, it is slippery.
This mattress here?
That's it.
Take a look, Joe.
Right. No, nothing here.
Did you look all around there? Did you look in the corners?
No.
Well, that'd be a good place to hide a gun, don't you think? Hey, let me see. There might be a hole cut in one of them. Maybe the other corner. No. Or maybe this one. Yeah. You see, the matches have been cut. No. No, it's got to be here. Where is it? It's here, I tell you. It's here. I know it's here. I'll find it. I'll find it. You wait. You'll see. I'll get it. I know it's here. I'll find it. You wait, I'll get it. I'll get it.
It's getting wet, Joe.
We got the 38 Kane told us about it. You ready to talk?
Yeah.
Insurance. That why you did it?
Yeah. I'm a sick man.
Let's go, Benham. On your feet.
All right.
They played that ball game the other day.
Yeah? Who won?
Pirates 8-7. Sure do like baseball.
Must be a real nice business.
Yeah.
Fans only yell if they never do it.
What's that?
Kill the umpire.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Thomas Kane was convicted of second-degree murder and received a term as prescribed by law. Theodore V. Benham was convicted of first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon. He received a life sentence and died in prison 1 year later. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.